Chapter 623. In the cultivation world, there was a group of people who were born to cultivate the Tao. They were the favored children of heaven. When these people were born, they would usually be accompanied by unusual phenomena. They would be gifted with protective abilities by heaven which would bring them immeasurable blessings. The four-colored Emperor Cloud was an extremely powerful defensive ability. Yun Xiaoxiang had the four-colored Emperor Cloud protecting his body. Almost no one at the same level as him could break the defense of his Emperor Cloud. In addition, the Emperor Cloud contained tens of thousands of traces of divine light. Among those at the third break realm, there were rarely anyone who could withstand Yun Xiaoxiang's divine light attack. Looking at the tens of thousands of traces of divine light that were sweeping towards him, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Without hesitation, he took out Emperor Xiao's sword and slashed at the rays of light. Seeing Ning Fan slashing the divine light with his sword, Yun Xiaoxiang's eyes flashed with disdain. He pointed his finger and activated the tens of thousands of traces of divine light to sweep at Emperor Xiao's sword light. When the divine light swept across, Emperor Xiao's sword light was instantly shattered. The remaining waves turned into golden waves and reflected back at Ning Fan. After being shaken by the remaining waves, Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his chest. He was forced to take 100 steps back in the sky before he could stabilize his body. In just a single exchange, he was already severely injured by the remaining waves. Yun Xiaoxiang is very strong. He has the four-colored Emperor Cloud protecting his body. He can even fight against ordinary four-break realm mold monsters. The current me is still not his match. Ning Fan sighed. After all, he had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm. No matter how many techniques he has, it was impossible for him to surpass so many levels and defeat Yun Xiaoxiang. The cultivators of the rain world in all directions exclaimed in surprise. Many of them had witnessed the battle between Ning Fan and King Lanling with their own eyes. On that day, Ning Fan killed King Lanling with a single sword attack with the might of Emperor Xiao's sword. The fearsome name of Emperor Xiao's sword had once made countless cultivators of the rain world tremble in fear. Today, however, Emperor Xiao's sword light, which was powerful enough to kill King Lanling, was easily broken by Yun Xiaoxiang. This scene naturally made the cultivators discuss among themselves. Marquis Whiterobe is very strong. With his two great abilities, Soul Extraction and his terrifying Golden Sword Light, he can even fight against a two-break realm expert. Even so, he is still not a match for the second prince. The second prince's four-colored Emperor Cloud can only be broken by a four-break realm expert. The second imperial prince has the protection of the four-colored Emperor Cloud. Apart from the Rain Sovereign, he is practically invincible in the rain world. Marquis Whiterobe's true cultivation base is just at the origin returning Great Void stage. Even if he can defeat a new void fragmentation realm expert like Prince Lanling, it's impossible for him to defeat a veteran void fragmentation realm expert like the second prince. Perhaps Marquis Whiterobe still has a trump card that can slightly resist the second prince's Emperor Cloud. Fellow Taoists, stop joking. This humble Taoist doesn't believe that Marquis Whiterobe can resist the second prince's Imperial Cloud rays. No one cared about why Ning Fan would suddenly return to Heavenly Cloud Country and forcefully barge into the forbidden area of the Tian city. They only cared about one thing: the outcome of today's battle. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out 3 thunder shock balls and hid them in his sleeve. He held the sword in one hand and the thunder pulse pearl in the other. He knew that he wasn't Yun Xiaoxiang's match, but he had to enter the forbidden area no matter what. Ning Fan secretly estimated the defensive power of the four-colored Heavenly Cloud. A single thunder shock ball is enough to instantly kill a second-rank Destruction Realm cultivator and severely injure a third-rank Destruction Realm cultivator. The combined destructive power of the 3 thunder shock balls is enough to break the defense of Yun Xiaoxiang's Emperor Cloud and severely injure him. If he uses 4 thunder shock balls, he might even have the chance to kill Yun Xiaoxiang instantly. However, if he uses 2 thunder shock balls, it might not be enough to completely break the defense of the Emperor Cloud. Ning Fan was only prepared to use 3 thunder shock balls. He did not want to take Yun Xiaoxiang's life. The reason why he came to the Rain Palace today was not to kill anyone. He just wanted to find his mother. The current Ning Fan had not reached the point where he would fight to the death with the Rain Palace. Otherwise, he could just summon his rogue devils and massacre the Rain Palace. Ning Fan still owed the Rain Ancestor a favor. If possible, he did not want to become enemies with the Rain Palace. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's breathing calmed down. He raised his snow-white sleeves and pointed them at Yin Xiaoxiang. Then he sighed and said, "Second Prince, I know that I'm not your match. However, I must go to the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City. I hope you won't continue to stop me. Otherwise, I will no longer show mercy to you. I will certainly severely injure you." The corner of Yin Xiaoxiang's eyes narrowed. He saw Ning Fan taking out something from his storage pouch and hiding it in his sleeves. At first, he was still keeping his guard up. However, as soon as he heard Ning Fan's seemingly arrogant threatening words, he immediately threw all of his caution to the back of his mind. His eyes gradually became filled with disdain. Show mercy? He is the dignified second prince of the Rain Palace. Does he need a junior at the primordial return realm to show mercy to him? Severely injure him? He is a dignified old monster with the Emperor Cloud Body Protection Technique, who is unrivaled in the three break realms. Is it possible for him to be severely injured by a junior at the primordial return realm? Ning Fan is indeed very arrogant. He has just killed King Lan Ling, and he has already become so conceited and arrogant to this extent? He is really a junior who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Yin Xiaoxiang was the favored son of heaven. He had his own pride. He would never believe that Ning Fan could injure him severely. With a flick of his finger, 10,000 traces of divine light suddenly condensed into a gigantic four-colored war drum and fell in front of him. The surface of the war drum was engraved with profound runes which possessed unfathomable power. The body of the drum was shining with dazzling light. Yin Xiaoxiang raised his palm, and the traces of divine light turned into a four-colored drumstick which fell into his hand. He let out a cold snort and raised his hand to hit the war drum. Donged at a low and deep sound of the drum spread across the entire heavenly cloud country in an instant. The sound of the drum was not deafening. However, after it spread out, it shook the cultivators who were watching from the side, and made them fall from the clouds. Some cultivators with weaker cultivation bases were even directly knocked unconscious by the sound of the drum. The others were only affected by the sound of the drum. The attack of the drum was actually concentrated on Ning Fan. To the others, it was just a low and deep sound of the drum. However, in Ning Fan's ears, it was as loud as a clap of thunder. This sound of the drum contained the full power of 10,000 traces of divine light. By using the sound of the drum to launch an attack of divine light, the power of the divine light would increase by several times. It was not something that Ning Fan could withstand completely. Ning Fan held the Thunder Pulse Seed tightly. He did not immediately summon it. Instead, he sighed softly and held the sword horizontally in front of his chest. Then he withdrew his body and flew backwards. Countless golden sword chi coiled around his body, trying to use Emperor Xia's sword light to protect himself. However, just as the sound of the drum entered his ears, Ning Fan immediately felt an invisible force hitting his chest. All of the sword light protecting his body crumbled. Ning Fan violently coughed out blood and retreated 200 steps in the sky. Traces of blood could not help but trickle down from the corner of his mouth. Just as so. The disdain in Yin Xiaoxiang's eyes intensified. He suddenly raised the drumstick and hit the war drum for the second time. Dong! When the second sound of the drum merged with the first sound, the power of the drum instantly doubled. The low and deep sound of the drum spread across the sky. Even more cultivators fainted from the sound of the drum. Ning Fan was at the center of the attack of the drum. He could feel how powerful the sound of the drum was. Among those at the three-break realm, there were very few people who could withstand the second sound of the drum without suffering any injuries. Break! With a hint of hesitation in his eyes, Ning Fan took half a step back. His body turned into countless black shadows and disappeared. However, as soon as the sound of the drum reached his ears, it shook the sky and forced him out of his body. Ning Fan let out a muffled groan. When he reappeared, his entire body was already stained with blood. During the second sound of the drum, his injuries were extremely severe, and he almost lost his life. He raised his head and saw Yin Xiaoxiang lifting the drumstick for the third time. He was about to hit the drum for the third time. This time, It was not easy for Yin Xiaoxiang to hit the drum. With his current cultivation base, he could only display the third sound of the drum. The third sound of the drum was enough to instantly kill any cultivator at the three-break realm. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. Yin Xiaoxiang sneered and hit the drum for the third time. At the moment when the drum hit the drum for the third time, the expressions of all the cultivators at the scene changed drastically. Dong! The sound of the drum spread across the entire heavenly cloud country. All the cultivators whose cultivation base was lower than mid-divine transformation realm fainted from the sound of the drum. Yin Qingge raised her hand to protect Yu Chong, or who was behind her. However, after hearing the sound of the drum, her eyes flashed with surprise. Her cultivation base was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Just by being affected by the third sound of the drum, she already felt her qi becoming slightly chaotic. It was hard for her to imagine how dangerous it would be for Ning Fan, who was under the attack of the sound of the drum. If Ning Fan could not withstand the attack of the sound of the drum, he would certainly be severely injured if not dead. Yu Chonger's face turned pale. Even though her cultivation base was low, she could tell that the sound of the drum was getting more and more powerful. The first sound of the drum had already injured Ning Fan. The second sound of the drum almost killed Ning Fan. Ning Fan might not be able to withstand the third sound of the drum. He's in danger. I want to help him. Yu Chong's mind went blank. For a moment, she forgot how weak she was. All she wanted to do was to fly into the sky and help Ning Fan take some of the damage from the sound of the drum, and help him escape from danger. Unfortunately, the aftermath of the sound of the drum was too powerful. It had already dispersed her magic power. She could not fly at all, and her body could not move at all. Because she had Yin Qingge to protect her, she did not faint. However, there was nothing he could do to save Ning Fan. The Pill Sovereign and Yin Bush's expressions changed drastically. They could naturally tell how powerful the third sound of the drum was. Even the two of them could not withstand the power of the third sound of the drum. Naturally, they did not think that Ning Fan could withstand the sound of the drum at this level. Both of them were already prepared to save Ning Fan. Among the two of them, one of them could be considered as Ning Fan's half-master. Besides, he owed Ning Fan for saving his life. Thus, he naturally could not let Ning Fan be in danger. The other person was a good brother of Ning Fan's father. Naturally, he would not let his nephew die. However, before the two of them could make their move, they saw a huge change on the battlefield. The Rain Sovereign was also waiting for Ning Fan to summon Nieli. Then he would find an opportunity to suppress Nieli and give Yin Xiaoxiang a chance to kill Ning Fan. If he had the chance to kill Ning Fan, he naturally would not need to borrow the power of a divine beast. The Rain Sovereign secretly held a large formation disc in his sleeve. After a while, he quietly took out an ancient bronze ring. This ring was called the Beast Taming Ring. It was a supreme treasure used to deal with demon beasts. If Ning Fan summons Nieli to resist Yin Xiaoxiang's drumbeat, the Rain Sovereign would secretly summon the Beast Taming Ring at the first moment and temporarily trap Nieli. Then he would look for an opportunity to kill Ning Fan. Is it enough to kill the Vine Sovereign? The Rain Sovereign's eyes were solemn. It was obvious that the Rain Emperor did not have absolute confidence that he could defeat Nieli. Unfortunately, he had long regarded Ning Fan as his greatest enemy. When he recalled the divination left behind by the former Rain Emperor, the killing intent in his heart grew even stronger. The person who condensed the sovereign qi in the Rain world back then was the person who obstructed him from becoming an immortal, so he must be killed. Ning Fan was the one who had condensed sovereign qi. Sure enough, it was better to eliminate him as soon as possible. The Rain Sovereign was waiting for Ning Fan to summon Nieli to launch a sneak attack. However, to the Rain Sovereign's surprise, Ning Fan did not have the intention to summon Nieli at all. On the battlefield, the situation suddenly reversed. When the first sound of the drum was heard, Ning Fan retreated because he was injured. When the second sound of the drum arrived, Ning Fan shattered his body to avoid it, but he nearly died. The third sound was much stronger than the previous two, but Ning Fan did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. The invisible sound of the drum turned into a strong gust of wind. However, it could not make Ning Fan retreat even half a step. Ning Fan looked at the aggressive Yin Xiaoxiang and said no more. He raised his hand and took out a thundershock seed. The bystanders could not see what item Ning Fan took out at all. All they saw was a flash of lightning that was as fast as lightning. The heavy sound of the drum was blasted apart by the lightning. This is the thundershock seed. The thundershock seed of the Three Worlds sect. Yin Xiaoxiang's expression changed drastically. The expressions of the few old monsters of the Rain World who had extraordinary experiences also changed drastically. Before the thundershock seed revealed its power, no one knew how powerful this item was. At most, they could only tell that it was a strange bead. However, as soon as the thundershock seed exploded, too many people recognized its origin. It was the ultimate treasure of the Three Worlds sect in the Heaven Immortal world. A single thundershock seed was enough to kill 2 cultivators instantly. 100 thundershock seeds were enough to make loose immortals retreat. Why does he have such a treasure? However, so what if he has the thundershock seed? If he only has 1 thundershock seed, it won't be enough to resist my third drum sound. Yin Xiaoxiang calmed himself down. Just as he revealed a hint of disdain, his expression stiffened at the next moment. In the next instant, all of their expressions turned into traces of fear. However, Ning Fan continued to raise his hand and summon the second and third lightning bolts. As soon as the 3 lightning rays exploded, the invisible sound of the drum was shattered. As for the drumsticks in Yin Xiaoxiang's hand, and the battle drum in front of him, all of them were blown to pieces. The battle drum and drumsticks dispersed into traces of divine light, and gathered in front of Yin Xiaoxiang. Then, they slowly condensed into pieces of 4-colored emperor clouds that protected him. The sound of the drum had been shattered, but the lightning rays had yet to disappear. 3 dazzling bolts of lightning shot toward Yin Xiaoxiang at a shocking speed. Yin Xiaoxiang's eyes were filled with fear. He hurriedly retreated and spread out the 4-colored emperor clouds to defend himself. In an instant, a total of 4 light screens spread out in front of him. They were enough to defend against most of the attacks. However, these 4 light screens were not enough to withstand the attack of 3 thundershock seeds at all. Bang! 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 4 cracking sounds resounded in the vast sky. It was the sound of Yin Xiaoxiang's 4 layers of emperor clouds being broken. The destructive lightning rays turned into a silver-colored lightning emperor that completely engulfed Yin Xiaoxiang. In just an instant, the arrogant heaven's favored one was severely injured and half of his emperor clouds were destroyed. Puff! Yin Xiaoxiang continued to cough out blood, and fell heavily towards Yin Shan. Each of the cultivators of the Rain Palace was shocked. None of them expected that the battle between Ning Fan and Yin Xiaoxiang would end with Yin Xiaoxiang being severely injured. A few of Yin Xiaoxiang's trusted subordinates soared into the sky, trying to catch Yin Xiaoxiang's falling body. However, as soon as they got close to Yin Xiaoxiang, they were immediately injured by the lightning rays that could not be released from his body. All of them coughed out blood and fell to the sky. The Rain Sovereign's expression was extremely cold. He had calculated everything, but he did not expect Ning Fan to have a supreme treasure like the thundershock seed in his hands. Ning Fan was able to defeat Yin Xiaoxiang without using the Sinli divine ability. The Rain Sovereign suddenly raised his hand and pointed at Yin Xiaoxiang's direction for more than 10 times. His fingers produced raindrops that dispersed the force of Yin Xiaoxiang's fall and slightly sealed the rampaging lightning rays in his body. At this moment, the Rain Sovereign was not worried about the injuries of his sons. There was only one thing in his mind. Ning Fan really had to be killed. If he continues to indulge himself, there will come a day when he will lose even the slightest possibility of killing Ning Fan. He could tolerate all the sins that Ning Fan had committed and protect him and use him. However, he absolutely could not tolerate Ning Fan being the one who stopped him from becoming an immortal. Killing intent flashed in the Rain Sovereign's eyes. Could it be that Ning Fan is going to enter the Directorate of Heaven Realm alone today? If he borrows the power of the Heavenly Cloud Nation's Grand Formation, and the Beast Taming Ring and other supreme treasures, he might be able to eliminate Ning Fan. If he really can't, the Rain Sovereign will kill Ning Fan, even if he has to forcefully awaken the Divine Beast to come out of seclusion. The Rain Sovereign secretly tightened his grip on the formation plate, and was about to activate the Grand Formation of Heavenly Cloud Nation. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly looked back from the vast sky and met the Rain Sovereign's eyes. I've said it before. If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain. This sentence was like a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in the Rain Sovereign's heart. At this moment, Ning Fan kept Emperor Xiao's sword and took out various treasures from his storage pouch. In his right hand, there were a total of 12 lightning shock balls. As Ning Fan raised his hand, the 12 lightning shock balls turned into 12 rays of lightning and circled around him. A single lightning shock ball was enough to instantly kill 2 cultivators. 3 lightning shock balls were enough to severely injure Yun Xiaoxiang, who thought highly of himself. 12 lightning shock balls were enough to kill the dignified Rain Sovereign. The moment he saw the 12 lightning shock balls, the Rain Sovereign felt a chill down his spine. He felt a deep sense of fear. He had a premonition that if he dares to activate the formation light and harm Ning Fan would dare to summon the 12 lightning shock balls and kill him instantly. He dared not. At this moment, the Rain Sovereign did not dare to act recklessly and fight against Ning Fan. At this moment, the Rain Sovereign felt an unprecedented sense of security. Even if he has the grand formation of Heavenly Cloud Nation, the beast taming ring and the divine beast on the sacrificial altar, so what? Ning Fan just needs to raise his hand and summon the 12 lightning shock balls to take his life. Killing him would only take a single thought. He did not have the time to activate the grand formation and awaken the divine beast at all. The killing intent in the Rain Sovereign's eyes instantly disappeared. What replaced it was dejection and forbearance. He did not dare to act because he would surely die if he did. He actually still has 12 lightning shock balls. He really showed mercy to me. Yun Xiaoxiang's face turned pale, and he lost all of his arrogance. So what if he has 4 colored emperor clouds? He can't withstand the bombardment of Ning Fan's lightning shock balls at all. Lightning shock balls. There are so many lightning shock balls. Some of the old monsters of the rain world were extremely terrified. If Ning Fan activates all of the lightning shock balls, it would be enough to raise the entire Directorate of Heaven domain to the ground. None of the cultivators here would be able to survive. However, something even more shocking had yet to happen. Ning Fan raised his hand and waved, keeping the 12 rays of lightning into his sleeve. Then he patted his storage pouch and took out a silver token. The moment the token appeared, all the cultivators who possessed the bloodline of the Rain Palace could feel an irresistible pressure being emitted from the token. In the face of this token, some of the weaker cultivators of the Rain Palace could not control their bodies and knelt before the token. Rain Emperor's Decree. The Rain Emperor's token that has been missing for many years. The Rain Emperor was shocked. Rain Emperor's Decree. The Rain Emperor's token that was lost along with my imperial father. Yin Qingge's beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment. Those who saw this order would feel as if they had seen the Rain Emperor. The owner of this token was the true emperor of the Rain Palace, Feng Wei. I want to enter the forbidden area. Ning Fan's voice resounded across the entire Xitian territory. However, no one dared to mock, question, or oppose him anymore. He had consecutively defeated 4 princes, including Yun Xiaoxiang, and possessed 12 lizenzi. In the Rain world, there was no one who could stop him. If he wanted to enter the Directorate of Sky Forbidden Land, no one could stop him. Since Ning Fan possessed the Rain Sovereign's token, his status was almost comparable to the previous Rain Sovereigns. Though he did not know why this medallion was in his hands, those who saw this medallion would feel as if they had seen the Rain Emperor. At this moment, Ning Fan's status was comparable to the previous Rain Sovereigns. His identity was enough to enter the forbidden area. With this token, he could easily enter the forbidden area without breaking the seal of the forbidden area. At first, Ning Fan did not want to reveal the Rain Sovereign's token. After all, he had obtained it from the Hongyun Rain Sovereign. The process of obtaining the Rain Emperor's token involved the theft of the time crystal of the Lost World Palace. However, at this moment, Ning Fan could not care less about concealing anything. He only wanted to enter the Directorate of Heaven Forbidden Ground. He didn't care about anything else. Lead the way, bring me into the forbidden area. Ning Fan descended from the sky and stepped into the crowd. The crowd immediately scattered in 2 directions as if they were avoiding a ferocious beast. Ningfan walked towards the Rain Sovereign step by step. The Rain Sovereign's forehead was filled with sweat, as he felt an extremely heavy pressure. Forget it. I'll bring you into the Directorate of Heaven's Forbidden Land now. The Rain Emperor forced out a few smiles, but these smiles, no matter how one looked at them, seemed fake and ugly. Disperse. The Rain Emperor said dejectedly with a wave of his hand. Ningfan was one step ahead of them. He turned into a ray of traveling light, and dived into the underground of the Directorate of Heaven domain. The Rain Sovereign gritted his teeth and turned into a ray of light, following Ningfan into the underground. Just as he was about to leave, an evil thought rose in his mind. There are divine beasts hibernating in the underground sacrificial altar. I wonder if I have the chance to kill Ningfan. The cultivators of the Rain world who were left behind looked at each other in dismay. Ningfan won the game between him and the Rain Sovereign. A great victory. Ningfan's abilities were astonishing. Besides, he had the Rain Sovereign's token with him. The Rain Sovereign did not dare to disobey Ningfan's order at all. The Rain world was going to change. From today onwards, the strongest expert in the Rain world was no longer the Rain Sovereign, and the strongest force was no longer the Rain Palace. Yunyomu looked at the direction where Ningfan left and his expression relaxed slightly. When he saw Ningfan summoning the 12 Thundershock pellets, he was originally very worried that Ningfan would destroy the Rain Palace and kill the Rain Sovereign in a fit of rage. Fortunately, Ningfan did not kill anyone in the Rain Palace, which made him feel relieved. Then his expression became anxious again. In the past, he had met Ningfan under someone's order and tested him. At that time, he was a void fragmentation realm expert that Ningfan could only dream of but not reach. Now he was someone who had been defeated by Ningfan and was no longer a match for him. I've misjudged him. In the past, I was ordered to test this person. After that, I told Dao Child that this person is useless. I didn't expect that. If this person is here, the trip to obtain the map this time might be much smoother. However, Dao Child already has enough manpower. There's no need for this person to join the team to obtain the map. The immemorial fisherman's Mino. In another half a month, I should go to the northern demon sea of the demon world and meet Dao Child just for this map. I wonder if the Godly Void Pavilion has also gathered enough manpower. If Ningfan doesn't destroy the Rain Palace, I will go to the northern demon sea as promised. If Ningfan destroys the Rain Palace, I won't be able to escape death. Naturally, I won't be able to go to the northern demon sea. Yunyomu looked at the underground of the Tion city, and suddenly felt a little worried. At this moment he was worried for the first time that his father might provoke Ningfan, and cause the destruction of the Rain Palace. Then he would also be implicated and die. I hope that everything goes smoothly in Marquis Whiterobe's trip to the Forbidden Area without any unforeseen events. If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain. As long as the Rain Palace doesn't betray him, he won't destroy the Rain Palace. Father, you must not continue to offend this person. Otherwise, you will surely regret it in the future. Chapter 624. Ningfan used the Earth Escape technique and dived all the way into the ground. He had no idea how long he had been traveling and how deep he had gone. The soil around them gradually turned silver. The pressure underground was getting stronger and stronger. Even if Guyuan Taishi was here, it would be hard for him to move forward. Continuing down, there were layers of silver formation lights blocking the way. In front of the formation light, there was an empty space with a silver platform. Ningfan withdrew his traveling light and landed on the platform. He stared at the silver formation light in front of him with a thoughtful expression. In front of the platform, there was a huge silver door of light that was heavily sealed. The level of that formation light was very high. It had surpassed the immortal realm. It was not something that Ningfan could break. However, this formation light was very old, and it was covered in cracks. If it was forcefully broken, it wasn't impossible. However, once it was broken, the countless devils suppressed inside would escape to the outside world and wreak havoc in the Rain world. On the other side of the Door of Light was the Forbidden Area. Outside the Door of Light were 24 statues of silver stone lions. The moment Ningfan approached the Door of Light, The stone eyes of the 24 silver stone lions turned to him with gurgling sounds. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Only the master of the rain palace cannot enter the forbidden. Quickly retreat. All the stone lions gave the order in a low voice. All of these 24 stone lions possessed the strength of a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. They were rooted here, their bodies connected to the great power. They couldn't move, but they could attack and defend the light gate. Ningfan glanced at the stone lions. He knew that they were the cloud lion puppets of the rain palace, and they were the kind that could not be moved. He had also seen these stone lions at the bottom of the blood dragon pool, where the past rain emperors had gone into seclusion. Ningfan did not say much. He just took out the rain sovereign token and activated his sovereign chi to activate the might of the token. All of a sudden, an indistinct golden shadow of a sovereign appeared behind him. The moment it appeared, Ningfan's body emitted a strong aura of a sovereign. In an instant, the 24 stone lions let out loud rumbling sounds as they knelt on the ground and respectfully lowered their heads. "Welcome, Your Majesty. Open the door," Ningfan commanded. "Yes." 24 stone lions stood up, their eyes shining with silver light. Then, the light door that was originally heavily sealed slowly opened, revealing a silver passageway. The passageway was dozens of miles long, and flying was prohibited. The silver light above the passageway was extremely dazzling. One's eyesight couldn't see too far, and one's divine sense couldn't be spread out too far either. After the door of light opened, Ningfan was not in a hurry to enter. Behind him, the Rain Emperor's streak of light arrived at a leisurely pace, and his expression was a little dark. He was the mighty Rain Emperor. Yet these stone lions had never knelt before him before. Ningfan was just a devil cultivator. Just because he possessed the Rain Sovereign's token, he was regarded as the divine sovereign by the group of lions, and they had to kneel before him. The Rain Emperor naturally felt uncomfortable in his heart. Yet he forced out a smile, and said, "After entering the giant door, it is the Directorate of Heaven's forbidden land. Little friend, please follow me into the forbidden area." After saying this, the Rain Emperor took the first step and stepped into the door of light. The instant he entered the door of light, a hint of cold killing intent flashed through the Rain Emperor's eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. He thought coldly in his heart. The array door's passageway is severely damaged, and it's forbidden to fly. There are many cracks that are hard to see with the naked eye. If I take a wrong step, I'll fall into the first level of the forbidden area, the Devil's Denver. It's Ningfan's first time entering the forbidden area. I don't know where the cracks are. If I'm not careful, I might fall into the Devil's Denver. There are many devil creatures in the Devil's Denver. These devil creatures may not be very strong, but each of them possesses extremely strong corpse poison. The corpse poison of some devil creatures is enough to kill a cultivator. I have the ancient beast token with me. By borrowing the special power of divine beasts, I can slightly resist the forbidden power of flying. The Rain Emperor thought that he had concealed his killing intent very well, but he did not know that Ningfan had already noticed it. Ningfan's eyes turned slightly cold. He had killed countless people in his life. Thus, he was very sensitive to killing intent. The Rain Emperor's killing intent did not escape his senses. If possible, he really did not want to fall out with the Rain Emperor. I've said it before. If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain. Yin Zhongshuan, if possible, I don't want to kill you. Ningfan withdrew the cold light in his eyes, as if nothing had happened. He took a step into the door of light. With a flash of silver light, Ningfan stepped into the passage of the formation door. In here, his eyesight could only see as far as 3 zhang while his spirit sense could only extend as far as 100 zhang. The forbidden power of flying was suppressing Ningfan's body, preventing him from flying. Ahead of them was a stretch of silver fog, and the Rain Emperor's tracks had long since disappeared. Ningfan's thought for a moment, and seemed to have a guess. He squatted down and checked the light wall beneath his feet. After a brief examination, Ningfan found out that due to the passage's long history, many parts of the light wall had become weak. There were countless cracks on it, and it was not enough to support the weight of a human body. There were even some places with large holes, but they were obscured by the brilliance, making it difficult for the naked eye to distinguish them. This place forbade flying, so they had to walk. If they were not careful, they would fall into the tunnel. Yin Zhongshuan wants me to fall down the tunnel. He has underestimated me. Ning Fan opened the vertical eye on his glabella. It was his third eye, human eye. When this eye appeared, the divine star between the eyebrows immediately merged into the human eye. After activating the Fuli demon eye and Mo Luo devil eye at the same time, Ning Fan's eyesight was greatly enhanced. He could see clearly where he could go and where he could not. Naturally, he wouldn't fall into the demon's den below. At the end of the passageway, the Rain Emperor's expression was slightly nervous. He had been waiting here for a long time. After a long time, Ning Fan crossed the passage of the formation door and entered the forbidden area. As soon as he saw Ning Fan walking out safely, the Rain Sovereign's eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment. However, he quickly concealed it. He also knew that it was a little wishful thinking for him to kill Ning Fan with the devil creatures in the demon's den. Hehe. Little friend, you're a little late. I've been waiting here for a long time. Little friend, take a look. This is the first level of the forbidden area. By the way, I wonder what your purpose is in entering the forbidden area. Can you tell me? I'm looking for someone. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he spread his spirit sense. After walking out of the passage of the formation door, the place was no longer empty. The range of his spirit sense had also returned to normal. Ning Fan's spirit sense could now extend to a distance of 1 million li. After performing a hand seal with his 10 fingers and displaying the heaven-peering rain technique, drizzling rain fell on the entire first level of the forbidden area. Ning Fan had only fused 3 types of rain techniques. By fusing them, he could see the land within 1 billion li, which was almost the entire area of the first level of the forbidden area. Displaying the complete rain technique consumed too much magic power. There was no need for Ning Fan to display the complete rain technique. Moreover, he was severely injured in the battle against Yin Xiaoxiang. Even though he had already taken some pills to suppress his injuries when he passed through the passage of the formation door, he was still quite weak. The fusion of 3 types of rain techniques was enough to see the entire first level of the forbidden area. It really is the heaven-peering rain technique. Moreover, this young man's rain intent has actually reached the first grade realm. How is this possible? As soon as the Rain Sovereign saw the rain falling from the sky, he was immediately astonished. His eyes flashed with jealousy. He almost wanted to kill Ning Fan right away. However, when he thought of Lei Zhenzi's terrifying power, he did not dare to make a move. After a while, Ning Fan withdrew his rain technique. His eyes revealed a hint of disappointment. The forbidden underground area of the ruling Sky City had 3 levels in total. Each level was extremely vast. In the first level of the forbidden area, there were countless devil creatures hibernating. All of them were corpse beasts. Ning Qian was not in the first level of the forbidden area. If she's not in the first level, then she must be in the second level or the third level. Ning Fan withdrew his expression and suddenly shook his cauldron ring, taking out a giant beast from it. He stepped on it and flew towards the distance. It was a purple-eyed peacock. It was extremely beautiful, and its aura force was so strong that it was suffocating. So this is the legendary Nieli ferocious beast. The Rain Sovereign's expression changed drastically. He only knew that Nieli was at the 5th break realm from the information he received. However, he did not expect Nieli's aura force to be so powerful. The aura of this purple-eyed Nieli was not any weaker than some 6th break realm cultivators. With just a glance, the Rain Sovereign was convinced that he was definitely not a match for Nieli. Even with the help of the beast taming ring, his chances of winning were still slim. No wonder this Nieli could kill the Vine Sovereign. He's actually so powerful. Besides feeling astonished, the Rain Sovereign also felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, Ning Fan did not summon Nieli during his battle with Yin Xiaoxiang. If he did, the Rain Sovereign would have attacked him impulsively. The consequences of acting impulsively would surely be very miserable. Ning Fan had 12 Lei Zhenzi in his hands, and he had the help of the purple-eyed Nieli. Even if he were to face 2 Rain Sovereigns, he would be able to kill all of them. At this moment, The Rain Sovereign was even more fearful of Ning Fan. If it's possible, he would definitely not want to provoke Ning Fan. However, when he thought that Ning Fan would stop him from becoming an immortal in the near future, his eyes flashed with killing intent once again. If I can't borrow the power of the divine beast, I must not attack this young man. The Rain Sovereign gradually calmed down. It was not that he had given up on killing Ning Fan. Instead, it made him even more determined. He must borrow the power of the divine beast to kill Ning Fan, just like how he killed the Thunder Sovereign in the past. The Rain Sovereign made up his mind. He turned into a ray of light and chased after Ning Fan. The place where the divine beast went into seclusion was on the 3rd floor. It would be fine if Ning Fan did not enter the 3rd floor. However, if he enters the 3rd floor, he would definitely think of a way to ask the divine beast to attack him. No matter what, he must kill Ning Fan at the bottom of the forbidden area. Ning Fan flew on Nie Li's back, speeding towards the 2nd floor of the forbidden area. Nie Li's speed was much faster than the Rain Sovereign's. Thus, the Rain Sovereign naturally could not catch up to him. The air in the 1st floor of the forbidden area was exceptionally heavy, and it was accompanied by a strong stench of corpses. Even though Ning Fan had just cast a layer of drizzle on the 1st floor, it could not wash away all the stench of corpses. Some giant beasts with rotten bodies were crawling on the muddy ground. These giant beasts were all corpse beasts. They fed on corpses and their bodies contained extremely powerful corpse poison. There were not many corpse beasts on the 1st floor. There were only several tens of thousands of them. All of their bodies were rotten, and their spiritual intelligence was low. However, these corpse beasts had very high cultivation bases. The weakest among them was at the late divine transformation realm. Some of the stronger ones had even reached the void refinement realm. Ning Fan cultivated the corpse devil record and completed the 2nd transformation of the corpse devil. To him, all the corpse beasts in this place were great nourishment. Consuming them could improve the realm of his cultivation method and increase his cultivation base. To the corpse beasts in this place, Ning Fan, who had completed the 2nd transformation of the corpse devil, was also a delicacy in their mouths. Roar! Wherever Nie Li flew past, the corpse beasts leaped into the sky recklessly and blocked Nie Li's path while spraying out countless poisonous mists. It was fine if it was just the corpse beasts of the divine transformation realm, but the corpse beasts of the void refinement realm had very powerful corpse poison. Even a destruction realm cultivator would not dare to touch this poison easily. Ning Fan was a corpse devil who had completed the 2nd transformation of the corpse devil. Naturally, he was not afraid of mere void refinement realm corpse poison. On the contrary, to him, all corpse poisons were great nourishment. As long as he encountered any corpse beasts blocking his path, Nie Li would kill all of them. Corpse beasts were considered as demon beasts and their bodies contained demon cores. Ning Fan opened his mouth and sucked away all the poisonous mists while swallowing the demon cores of the corpse beasts into his stomach. The Rain Sovereign, who was following closely behind Ning Fan, saw countless corpses of corpse beasts along the way. The fear in his eyes became more and more intense. These corpse beasts were naturally killed by Ning Fan and Nie Li. Among these dead corpse beasts, there were even primordial returning corpse beasts. The Rain Sovereign could not help but be shocked. One should know that the corpse beasts did not have high cultivation bases. Thus, it was not difficult to kill them. However, the corpse poison in their bodies was extremely terrifying. If they were primordial returning corpse beasts, the corpse poison would be enough to kill a void fragmentation realm cultivator. Even the Rain Sovereign did not dare to face the primordial returning corpse beasts head-on when he entered the forbidden area in the past because he was afraid of being poisoned by the corpse poison. Even though he would not be poisoned to death by the primordial returning corpse beasts, his cultivation base would still be greatly damaged if he is poisoned by the corpse poison. The corpse beasts that he did not dare to face were killed by Ning Fan with ease. Some places still had extremely thick poisonous mists of the corpse poison, which formed an impassable barrier. Even the Rain Sovereign did not dare to pass through recklessly. He needed to take a detour to advance. However, Ning Fan went straight ahead without avoiding the poisonous mists at all. Could it be that this young man is not afraid of the corpse poison or the corpse beasts? The Rain Sovereign could not help but guess. When the Rain Sovereign arrived at the entrance of the second floor, Ning Fan had already landed in Nye Li's body. He was adjusting his breath on the ground while waiting. At this moment, Ning Fan was forcefully devouring the demon cores of all the corpse beasts. These demon cores did not contain rich magic power. Instead, they contained terrifying poison. Along the way, Ning Fan had devoured nearly 10,000 demon cores of Divine Transformation Realm corpse beasts, and more than 50 demon cores of Void Refinement Realm corpse beasts. Currently, Ning Fan had yet to completely refine all of the demon cores, but he had already absorbed a significant amount of poison power. Ning Fan's body was surrounded by layers of poisonous mists, which even gave the Rain Sovereign a sense of danger. This poison was not enough to injure him, but it was enough to devour his cultivation base bit by bit, causing his cultivation base to gradually decline. Not only is this young man not afraid of the corpse poison, but he can also absorb it. The Rain Sovereign's eyes were filled with astonishment. Could it be that Ning Fan is a poison cultivator? Otherwise, why is he not afraid of the corpse poison? No matter how smart the Rain Sovereign was, he would never think that Ning Fan was not a poison cultivator, but a corpse devil. At this moment, Ning Fan stood up and stopped refining the demon cores of the corpse beasts in his body. He looked at the Rain Sovereign indifferently and said, "Lead the way. Let's go to the second floor." Chapter 625. Hearing that Ning Fan wanted to enter the second floor, the Rain Sovereign naturally did not have any objections. He hoped that Ning Fan would enter the third floor after entering the second floor. There was a divine beast on the sacrificial altar in the third level of the forbidden area. The Rain Sovereign had already made up his mind. This time, no matter what price he had to pay, he would ask the divine beast to come out and kill Ning Fan in the forbidden area. No one can stop me from becoming an immortal. A domineering look flashed in the Rain Emperor's eyes, and there was a hint of an aura of someone who would use any means necessary to achieve his goal. Unfortunately, he did not know that after offending Ning Fan, what awaited him was definitely not the path to immortality, but the path to death. The entrance to the second floor from the first floor was a bottomless hole filled with a sea of silver clouds. The Rain Sovereign was the first to leap off the cloud. Ning Fan then rode on Nye Li and descended to the second floor. As he descended, he used the heaven-peering rain technique. Before he entered the second floor, the drizzle had already fallen on the second floor. The second level of the Forbidden Land was not as vast as the first level. It only had a radius of 5 million li. This time, Ning Fan only used one type of rain technique, and it was enough to cover the entire Forbidden Land with his spirit sense. Needless to say, the sky-peaking rain technique was a very convenient investigative technique. It was enough to allow a cultivator to extend their spiritual will to an undetectable area. The Rain Emperor descended into the second level, and when he saw the drizzle that filled the sky, his expression darkened again. Is it the sky-peaking rain technique again? This time, the jealousy only lasted for a moment and didn't linger for too long. Ning Fan then descended to the second floor and dispelled the heaven-peering rain technique. His face was filled with surprise. The first layer of the Forbidden Land was filled with corpse beasts. There were 100,000 great mountains and 3,000 poisonous swamps. The second layer of the forbidden area was picturesque, like a paradise. Although the scenery was good, the death chi here was countless times more than that of the first layer of the forbidden area. Amidst the beautiful mountains and rivers, there was a bamboo city covered in green bamboo. It was not far from the entrance of the second level. The reason why Ning Fan was surprised was because he saw this city. He had seen this city before. He had seen it twice. In the illusionary realm of the first test of Sky Dominator City, he and Ancestor Yu were drinking together in this city. Before opening the divine aperture, he reunited with Ancestor Yu in this city. This city had appeared twice in the illusionary realm. It was the place where he met Ancestor Yu. Who would have thought that this city actually existed in this world? However, the difference in the illusion realm was that there was no one in the city. There was not a single living being in the entire second layer. It was empty and desolate, yet it emanated a heavy aura of death. Such a dense death chi. Ning Fan narrowed his eyes as if he had sensed something. Hee, this place is the place where the rain ancestor passed away. So the death chi is naturally extremely dense. The Rain Emperor laughed dryly and explained. Dying in meditation? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with a sigh. Ancestor Yu was a dignified immortal emperor, but he would also pass away in meditation. The people of the world believed that they would not die if they obtained immortality, so they stepped onto the path of cultivation one after another. However, reality was cruel. Even immortal emperors would have a day where their Tao would vanish. Even an immortal emperor. Who doesn't die in this world? Mortals die from old age while immortals die from samsara. Eternal life is just an illusion. Ning Fan seemed to be talking to himself, but at the same time, it seemed like he was talking to the Rain Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign wore an apologetic smile on his face, but his eyes revealed an imperceptible disdain. He scoffed at Ning Fan's sigh. The Rain Sovereign did not believe that the Rain Ancestor passed away in meditation here. He had always believed that immortals were immortal. That was why he pursued eternal life at all costs and insisted on becoming an immortal. The Rain Sovereign had also heard that immortals had major heavenly tribulations and minor heavenly tribulations. If they could not overcome the tribulations successfully, they might die under the tribulations. However, from the Rain Sovereign's point of view, as long as they could withstand the heavenly tribulations, they would still not die in the end. Eternal life really existed. It wasn't an illusion. To achieve eternal life, he would pay any price. He would kill Ning Fan, who stopped him from achieving eternal life at all costs. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the Rain Sovereign's eyes. When he saw a hint of disdain hidden in the Rain Sovereign's eyes, he shook his head indiscernibly. The reason why he said that eternal life was an illusion was to remind the Rain Sovereign not to be blinded by desires. Even though becoming an immortal was precious, it was more important to live in the present. If one makes an irreversible mistake in order to become an immortal, it would certainly be too late for regrets. In the Directorate of Heaven, the Rain Sovereign harbored evil intentions. He wanted to launch a sneak attack on Ning Fan, and Ning Fan forgave him for the first time. In the first level of the Forbidden Area, the Rain Sovereign wanted Ning Fan to die on the path of the Formation Door. Ning Fan forgave him for the second time. In the second level of the Forbidden Area, the Rain Sovereign still had not given up on killing Ning Fan. He was still plotting something. Ning Fan's reminder was considered as him forgiving him for the third time. By forgiving him for the third time, he had already repaid the Rain Ancestor's kindness. If the Rain Sovereign still doesn't know what's good for him, Ning Fan would not show any mercy. There was no trace of Ning Qian in the second level of the Forbidden Area. However, Ning Fan did not feel disappointed because he could sense Ning Qian's qi from the entrance of the third level. Ning Qian was in the third level. That was Ning Fan's mother. Ning Fan decided to enter the third level to save his mother. If the Rain Sovereign has the intention to kill him in the third level, that place would be his burial ground. It's a good place. Let's go to the third level. Ning Fan glanced at the Jade Bamboo City with a hint of pity. Then he rode on the Evil Li Sword and sped towards the third level. This place was the place where the Rain Ancestor passed away in meditation. An immortal emperor had fallen here before. Thus, the amount of death chi there was extremely large. If Ning Fan had enough time to absorb all the death chi here, his cultivation of the Corpse Devil record would certainly advance by leaps and bounds. His Corpse Devil body would also certainly become stronger. However, absorbing all the death chi in this place was not something that could be done in a short period of time. At this moment, Ning Fan was wholeheartedly focused on finding his mother. Thus, he could only temporarily forget about absorbing the death chi. As soon as he heard that Ning Fan was going to enter the third level, the Rain Sovereign was overjoyed. If Ning Fan enters the third level, he would certainly make him die there. Little friend, take your time. There are a few corpse beasts that are causing trouble in the third level. I will go ahead first and pave the way for you to slay them. The Rain Sovereign smiled from the bottom of his heart. He took out a silver talisman and felt a slight pain in his heart. Then he slapped the talisman on his chest. All of a sudden, clusters of silver clouds rose beneath the Rain Sovereign's feet. They wrapped around him and carried him towards the entrance of the third level at a speed that was a few times faster than Evil Li Sword. At this moment, The Rain Sovereign's speed was comparable to a rogue immortal. This silver talisman was called the Battle Cloud Talisman. It was an immortal-grade talisman that was passed down from the upper world. The Rain Sovereign only had 2 of these talismans. Each of them could only be used once. It was a supreme life-saving treasure. Once the Battle Cloud Talisman is stuck on it, the Rain Sovereign's speed could be increased to the standard of a rogue immortal for 2 hours. The Rain Sovereign had always regarded this talisman as a life-saving treasure. He was reluctant to give it to anyone. Even when he was in danger several times, he was reluctant to use it. However, this time he must use it. He had to enter the 3rd level before Ning Fan did, and awaken the divine beast to come out of seclusion to kill him. This was extremely important. His speed was far slower than Evil Li Sword. If he enters the 3rd level later than Ning Fan, he would not have the time to awaken the divine beast, and he would miss the best opportunity to kill Ning Fan. Therefore, no matter how much pain he felt, the Rain Sovereign still used a Battle Cloud Talisman without hesitation. From the Rain Sovereign's point of view, as long as he enters the 3rd level of the Forbidden Area and awakens the divine beast, he would be able to kill Ning Fan easily. After all, the divine beast in the sacrificial altar had a cultivation base at the 7th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, and it was just a step away from attaining the 8th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. It was exactly because the divine beast had such powerful strength that it had the ability to plot against Hong Yi, the Thunder Sovereign who was at the 6th level of the Shattering Realm. After using the Battle Cloud Talisman, the Rain Sovereign turned into a ray of silver light. In a flash, he was far ahead of Ning Fan. Evil Li's purple eyes were stunned. It seemed like she did not expect the Rain Sovereign to be faster than her. Then, she glanced at the talisman on the Rain Sovereign's chest, and revealed a disdainful look. It let out a low cry, as if it was saying that traveling with the talisman was not a real skill. Ning Fan's eyes widened. That's an immortal-grade escape talisman. I didn't expect the Rain Sovereign to have such a powerful life-saving talisman, despite his weak strength. If this talisman is used to save my life, even a rogue immortal might not be able to kill me. The Rain Sovereign is so eager to enter the 3rd level, and even use such a precious immortal talisman. He must be plotting something big. His goal is to kill me in the 3rd layer of the Forbidden Area, right? I'm very curious about what kind of trump card he has that makes him so confident that he can kill me in the 3rd level. Ning Fan was already on his guard. He placed his palm on the devil sealing pouch on his waist. No matter what kind of ambush there was in the 3rd layer, no matter how dangerous it was, he must enter the 3rd layer and rescue his mother. The Rain Sovereign took the lead and entered the 3rd level of the Forbidden Area. The 3rd level of the Forbidden Area was smaller than the 2nd level. It was only tens of thousands of li wide. Tens of thousands of miles of land was a boundless blood-colored desert. On the desert, there would be a stone statue every few li. Some of them were big and some were small. Some of these stone statues were in the shape of humans while some were in the shape of beasts. There were a total of 90 million strange stone statues in this place. If one were to look down from the sky, he or she would notice that all of the stone statues had formed a circular formation. Each of the stone statues was equivalent to a formation eye. They were connected by the formation marks of the stars. The formation was not an ancient formation. The stone statues were also not ancient objects. Both of them were products that had existed for nearly 100,000 years. At the center of the circular formation was a gigantic ancient sacrificial altar. On top of the altar stood a gigantic lion statue, which was tens of thousands of zhang in size. This lion statue looked very similar to a cloud lion. However, its appearance was different from an ordinary cloud lion. It had 16 pairs of gigantic wings and sharp horns on its head. The lion statue was clearly a dead object. However, its tightly shut eyes would occasionally move. It looked very strange. In the Rain Palace, there were 2 methods of making cloud lion puppets. The first type was the cloud lion puppet. Although its cultivation was low, it could move. The cultivation base of the second type of cloud lion could even reach the void fragmentation realm. However, it needed to be connected to the terrain and could not move. The lion statue on the altar was the third type of cloud lion. Not only was its cultivation high, but it could also move. The rain ancestor had obviously mastered the method of making the third type of cloud lion, but he had never passed it down to the descendants of the rain palace. This was because the method to create the third type of cloud lion was extremely cruel. It required the cloud lion to devour countless life sacrifices to create the third type of cloud lion. Back when Ancestor Rain had created the third cloud lion, he had taken hundreds of millions of cultivators and sacrificed their lives to make it a 7th level demolisher. If he wanted to raise the cloud lion's cultivation to a higher level, he would have to kill more people. The living sacrifices that Ancestor you captured were all enemy cultivators. No matter how many he killed, his Dao heart would not be harmed. However, when it came time to slaughter again, even with Ancestor Rain's cold personality, he still hesitated. To create a life immortal level cloud lion, one would need to slaughter hundreds of cultivation countries. In order to create a cloud lion at the perfected immortal level, he would need to break through hundreds of cultivation planets. If he wanted to create an immortal emperor cloud lion, he would have to kill countless of them. Perhaps it was impossible to create an immortal emperor cloud lion. Therefore, Ancestor Rain hesitated and stopped the creation of the third type of cloud lion. He also didn't pass down the method of creating this type of cloud lion to the future generations. Ancestor Rain was worried that if one of his descendants was blinded by greed, he might kill innocent living beings on a large scale in order to create this type of cloud lion. Cloud lions were only heretical, not righteous. If the descendants were so unfilial, Ancestor Rain, who passed down this method, would not be able to escape the blame. In the end, Ancestor Rain didn't pass down the method of creating cloud lions. However, the cloud lion that was casually created was preserved. The cloud lion was called a divine beast by Rain Sovereign, but in reality, it was just a puppet. Ordinary puppets wouldn't die as long as their durability wasn't exhausted. However, this cloud lion was even more special than ordinary puppets. When it started to decay, it only needed to be poured with the blood of living beings to extend the puppet's durability. This cloud lion originally didn't have any intelligence, but after a long time, it finally gained intelligence 100,000 years ago. The cloud lion began to make deals with several generations of Rain Sovereigns. It served the Rain Emperor, and killed for the Rain Emperor, while the Rain Emperor needed to offer living beings for it to consume. Although the Rain Emperors before Yun Zhongshuan would occasionally borrow the power of Cloudshire to fend off their enemies in times of danger, they would always try their best not to trade with Cloudshire. After all, every time they traded with the Cloud Lion, they would need to sacrifice a large number of living beings. This was not in line with the principle of the Rain Palace. When it came to Yun Zhongshuan's generation, he would do anything to achieve his goals, so he naturally used Cloud Lions in many ways. Every time he needed to borrow the power of the Cloud Lion, Yun Zhongshuan would secretly capture countless mortals and cultivators for the Cloud Lion to devour. Over the years, the Cloud Lion continued to devour living creatures, and its cultivation level gradually increased. His cultivation base was already at the peak of the 7th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm. Now he was only a step away from breaking through to the 8th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm. Because of that, Cloudshire decided to go into secluded meditation for 100 years, and focus on breaking through to the 8th demolishing level. When the Rain Sovereign requested to kill Ning Fan, Yunshi rejected the Rain Sovereign's order for the first time. Humph, this generation's Rain Emperor is too weak. He's just an ant of the 5th Shattering Realm. How dare he order me around? He really doesn't know his own limits. When I break through to the 8th Shattering Realm, I will break through this forbidden area and massacre the Rain Palace. I wonder to what extent my cultivation level would increase after that. Perhaps I can break through to the Life Immortal realm in one go. 100 years. I just need to wait for another 100 years. Just as Cloudshire was thinking about that, the Rain Sovereign suddenly passed through the entrance of the 3rd floor, and entered the forbidden area, landing in front of the sacrificial altar. Yun Zhongshuan, why are you here again? Don't you know that I'm in secluded meditation? Cloudshire said with displeasure. Lord Divine Beast, please calm down. I have an old enemy that I must kill. I need Lord Divine Beast's power. That person is now in the forbidden area and he is rushing towards the third floor. If Lord Divine Beast helps me kill my enemy, I will certainly offer enough living sacrifices for Lord Divine Beast to enjoy. The Rain Sovereign's tone sounded humble, in front of a puppet whose cultivation level was close to the 8th shattering realm. Even if he was the Rain Sovereign, he did not dare to show any arrogance. Hearing that the Rain Sovereign was here to ask him to kill someone, Cloudshire's stone eyes were immediately filled with anger. One should know that he had been in secluded meditation for a few years. If he came out this time to kill someone, all his efforts would be in vain. My secluded meditation is very important, and I can't afford to make any mistakes. I won't help you kill anyone within 100 years. Cloudshire refused coldly. 5 million living sacrifices. Rain Sovereign clenched his teeth and stated his condition. Cloudshire's eyes showed a hint of greed when he heard that. He was tempted, but then he shook his head and said discontentedly, "Not enough. This time, I want 100 million living sacrifices, and all the living sacrifices must be cultivators, not mortals." Cloudshire was a lion after all. It was normal for him to ask for too much. Rain Sovereign's face darkened, and he was inwardly furious. There were only 800 cultivation countries in the Rain world. In order to gather 100 million living sacrifices, each country would need to capture at least 1 million cultivators as living sacrifices. Previously, when he asked Cloudshire to kill Thunder Sovereign, he only paid a price of 2 million living sacrifices, and most of the living sacrifices were mortals. Cultivators naturally wouldn't care about the lives and deaths of mortals. At that time, Rain Sovereign sent people to capture hundreds of thousands of low-level cultivators from dozens of cultivation countries. It had already caused a lot of panic in the Rain world. Many people found out that it was Rain Sovereign's doing, but they didn't dare to say anything due to the power of Rain Palace. But this time, if Rain Sovereign captured 100 million cultivators for Cloudshire to devour, the overall strength of Rain world would be weakened by at least half. Moreover, this matter would definitely not be hidden from the public. 100 million is too much. Rain Sovereign was about to bargain, but Cloudshire sneered. "Get lost if you don't want to give it to me." His tone was full of humiliation. Rain Sovereign's face turned pale. He almost wanted to fight Cloudshire with his life after being humiliated, but he knew that he was no match for Cloudshire. Rain Sovereign held back the urge to flick his sleeves and leave as soon as he thought of the divination. He clenched his teeth and said, "As long as you help me kill this person, I will give you 100 million living sacrifices." Rain Sovereign was willing to pay any price to become an immortal. Even if he had to sacrifice the entire Rain world, he wouldn't hesitate. "Oh, you actually agreed? In that case, it's not impossible for me to help you once again." What is the cultivation base of the person you want to kill?" Cloudshire raised his stone head and looked at the sky. In that direction, there was the entrance to the 3rd level of the forbidden area. From the direction of the entrance, Cloudshire sensed that 2 powerful auras were approaching. One of them was the Origin returning Great Void stage, while the other was the 5 soul-breaking realm. One of the 2 auras should be the person Rain Sovereign wanted to kill. In Cloudshire's eyes, be it 5 soul-breaking realm or Ningfan, both of them were nothing to be afraid of. They were just ants. Among the cultivators he helped the current Rain Sovereign to kill, the strongest one was the Lightning Sovereign. His cultivation base was only at the 6 soul-breaking realm, but he was strong enough to fight against a 7 soul-breaking realm cultivator. At that time, Cloudshire used a small technique to lure the Lightning Sovereign's spiritual pet, the demonic ape. After sneak attacking the Lightning Sovereign, he killed him. Other than that battle, which was considered a bitter one, Cloudshire had never encountered a bitter battle. Today he wouldn't have a bitter battle either. Kill Origin returning Great Void stage, and keep 5 soul-breaking realm. I will use the secret technique of Lord Divine Beast to subdue him, and give him to me as my demon pet. Rain Sovereign's intention was to let Cloudshire kill Ningfan, and capture 5 soul-breaking realm to give him as his demon pet. If he had 5 soul-breaking realm as his demon pet, Rain Sovereign would be one step closer to becoming an immortal. Alright. If I attack him with my true body, I can kill him in a blink of an eye. Roar. Cloudshire let out a loud roar. Layers of silvery white clouds immediately spread out, and swept across the sky like waves of water. In that direction, Ning Fan stepped on 5 soul-breaking realm, and coincidentally entered the forbidden area of the 3rd floor. Before entering the forbidden area, Ning Fan had already spread out his spirit sense. Not only did he find his mother in the 3rd floor, but he also heard the negotiation between the Rain Sovereign and Cloud Shur. At this moment, when he saw the ocean-like silver clouds rushing towards him, his eyes flashed with killing intent. If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain. He had given the Rain Sovereign too many chances. However, the Rain Sovereign still made such a foolish decision, and insisted on taking his life. In that case, he no longer needed to show mercy to the Rain Sovereign. Attack. There's no need to show mercy. Ning Fan suddenly opened the devil sealing pouch. A stream of black mist immediately swept out from it. A black light flashed across the sky and countless clouds immediately began to crumble. How is this possible? This is the full-powered attack of my true body. How can it be shattered by an ant of origin returning realm? Wait. This is... Cloud Shur's gaze fell upon a gigantic black shadow in the sky. Immediately, his face was filled with fear. As for the Rain Sovereign who was waiting to see Ning Fan die, his face was also filled with fear. Loose devil. How is this possible? How is this possible? All of his schemes and plots were incomparable to absolute strength. All of the Rain Sovereign's schemes seemed so ridiculous in front of a loose devil. This young man is just an ant of origin returning realm. How can he have a loose devil as his helper? Could it be the Black Devil sect? No. Impossible. Sect Master Han of the Black Devil sect can't even protect himself. How can he have a loose devil to protect his disciple? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Where did this young man get a loose devil realm helper from? Is this loose devil old monster a cultivator of the devil world, or a cultivator from the upper world? Chapter 626. The Rain Sovereign would never have thought that this gigantic rogue devil that appeared out of nowhere was neither a cultivator of the devil world, nor a cultivator of the upper world. It was just Ning Fan's puppet. Even if Ning Fan personally told him that the rogue devil was his biological puppet, he would never believe it. To be able to take in a rogue devil as a slave, one had to be either a mighty immortal, or a Taoist disciple of a peerless force in the upper realm. The Rain Sovereign would never believe that a mere origin returning realm ant like Ning Fan could subdue a rogue devil like him. The scattered devil shattered the Cloud Lion's attack with a single strike. With a loud boom, it leaped down from the sky and landed on the barren land. His powerful aura pressured the Rain Emperor to the point of suffocation. Even Cloud Lion, who was a 7th demolisher, was shocked by the power of the rogue devil. Both the Rain Sovereign and Yin Shi could tell that the rogue devil in front of them seemed to have suffered some kind of severe injury. His cultivation base had already fallen to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Even so, the man and the snake did not feel relaxed at all. They only felt endless pressure. Ning Fan stood on top of the Sinly beast and glanced at the Cloud Lion below him. Then he said with a solemn tone, "A Cloud Lion puppet at the 7th fragmentation realm? And this Cloud Lion seems to be different from the other 2 Cloud Lions of the Rain Palace. Is this Yin Zhongshuan's trump card?" In order to deal with a formidable enemy like the Cloud Lion, Ning Fan had no choice but to use the rogue devils to assist him. Since the puppet strings of the Morning Ancestor were damaged, Ning Fan could only forcefully control the rogue devil to attack 3 times. Today was the 2nd time the rogue devil attacked. The loose devil marched towards the altar with huge steps, crushing many stone statues along the way. However, when he reached one of the 90 million stone statues, the scattered devil suddenly stopped in his tracks. He knelt on the ground and picked up the stone statue. It was a statue of a winged demon. It was as tall as a grown man, and judging from its appearance, it was a winged demon of the Oriole tribe. The loose devil respectfully held the stone statue and stood up. A black mist flashed in his palm, and the stone statue suddenly disappeared. At the next moment, black mist flashed in front of Ning Fan. The stone statue landed on the top of Nieli's head, right in front of Ning Fan. Ning Fan quietly looked at the stone statue of the winged demon. His eyes, which were originally cold, gradually became gentle, and then extremely nervous. He reached out his hand and caressed the cold stone statue. Then he unleashed his medicine soul and sent it into the stone statue. When Ningfan sensed that there was still a trace of warmth in the winged demon's heart, he felt relieved. Fortunately, his soul hasn't dissipated. Fortunately, there's still hope for him to be saved. Ningfan smiled in relief. He stroked the Yuan Yao jade between his fingers and kept the stone statue of the winged demon into the Yuan Yao world, placing it together with Mu Weiliang's green coffin. The winged demon that had turned into a statue was his mother. Her name was Ningqian, an Oriole winged demon. Strange. Why would a dignified loose devil kneel down to a blood-erased stone statue? Why did he take away the stone statue so carefully? The Cloud Lion was puzzled. Ningfan once said that he entered the forbidden area to look for someone. Could it be that the person he's looking for is just this stone statue? The Rain Sovereign guessed. The reason why the rogue devil would purposely take away Ningqian's stone statue was naturally because Ningfan had manipulated it. He wanted to eliminate the Rain Sovereign in the third level of the forbidden area. Once the battle begins, the aftermath of the battle would spread far and wide. Thus, he naturally needed to save his mother first. Only then would he be able to unleash his full power to kill the Rain Emperor. As for the Cloud Lion, he also had to kill him. The Cloud Lion's cultivation base was too high and Ningfan's lifespan was too short. Thus, he was unable to tame it. The Cloud Lion already had intelligence, and it was not a benevolent creature. If it was allowed to live, it would be like raising a tiger. Naturally, it had to be exterminated as soon as possible. You make a move, kill the Cloud Lion first, then kill the Rain Emperor. Ningfan moved the faintly discernible puppet strings between his fingers and gave the rogue devil an order. He had the loose demon deal with the enemy alone, while he himself guarded the entrance to the third level. He did not want to give the Rain Emperor any chance to escape. The power of the scattered demon alone was enough to kill the Rain Emperor and the Cloud Lion. The Rain Emperor used the Battle Cloud Seal, and within 2 hours his speed was comparable to that of a loose immortal. The power of that immortal talisman could still last for a very long time. If the Rain Sovereign finds a random direction to flee in, Ningfan would never be able to catch up to him. But unfortunately, this was the forbidden area of the third layer. There was no way to escape, and there was a ceiling array light in all directions. As for the Rain Sovereign, he was not Ningfan. Without the wind mist technique, he could not break the grand formation of this place and escape. If the Rain Emperor wanted to escape, he could only escape from the entrance back to the second layer of the Forbidden Land, and continue to flee outwards. Therefore, Ningfan only needed to guard the entrance of the Forbidden Land. If the Rain Sovereign does not escape, the scattered demon would naturally kill him. If the Rain Sovereign tries to escape, Ningfan would ask Nieli to kill him. Kill. Upon hearing the order, the scattered demon immediately let out a shrill roar. His body swayed and turned into layers of devil mist. With a single move, he traveled a great distance and directly appeared in front of the sacrificial altar. He glanced at the Cloud Lion and the Rain Sovereign with his eyes filled with disdain. Then he raised both of his fists and punched at them. His left fist attacked the Cloud Lion while his right fist attacked the Rain Sovereign. As soon as the scattered demon's fist light appeared, devil chi instantly filled heaven and earth. It even formed countless balls of black devil flames between heaven and earth. Seeing the scattered demon's fist light coming at him, the Rain Sovereign was so shocked that he could not utter a word. With the help of the talisman power of the Battle Cloud Seal, he rode a cloud and instantly fled a great distance away. He stood in the sky and barely avoided the fist light that was coming at him. The fist light missed its target and landed on the barren land. With just a single strike, the barren land of tens of thousands of li was immediately split into pieces. The Rain Sovereign managed to avoid the scattered demon's fist light, but the Cloud Lion was not as lucky. All of the scattered demon's killing intent was locked on the Cloud Lion. He followed Ningfan's order and prepared to kill the Cloud Lion first. The scattered demon only used 10% of his devil chi to attack the Rain Sovereign. As for the fist light that was used to attack the Cloud Lion, he used 12% of his devil chi. The fist light that was thrown at the Cloud Lion must kill the Cloud Lion. The Cloud Lion's stone eyes widened in shock. He opened his mouth and spat out millions of silver lightning bolts at the scattered demon's fist light. The power of the silver lightning bolts that filled the sky was not to be underestimated. They were lightning that was transformed from rain. It was a type of powerful magic technique that could instantly kill 5 cultivators. However, when the lightning bolts collided with the fist light, they immediately shattered into countless lightning sparks and gradually disappeared. The momentum of the fist light did not diminish at all. It directly landed on the Cloud Lion's head. With just a single punch, the sharp horn on the top of the Cloud Lion's head was broken. Meanwhile, the Cloud Lion's massive stone body was crushed by the scattered demon. Lord Divine Beast actually can't even withstand a single punch from the scattered demon. The Rain Sovereign's eyes were filled with fear. He just thought that the Cloud Lion had already been killed by the scattered demon's punch. However, the scattered demon knew that his punch did not kill the Cloud Lion. "Get out here!" the scattered demon roared. This roar caused a monstrous demonic fog to surge toward the edge of the desert. As soon as the demonic mist approached, a furious roar rang out from the barren desert. "Sir, do you really have to kill me?" With a flash of blood-red light, the sand and stones on the ground suddenly condensed into a huge azure lion. It had 16 pairs of wings on its back and a sharp horn on its head, but it had already been broken. This was the Cloud Lion's original appearance. What had been destroyed by the scattered devil was only the stone skin covering its body. Of course, its sharp horn was also destroyed by the scattered demon's fist light. However, when the fist light was about to reach its body, the Cloud Lion's body escaped by using the Earth Escape technique. Looking at the monstrous demonic fog coming toward it, the stone lion's eyes flashed with ferocity. It stomped the ground, and the 90 million stone statues on the 3rd floor of the forbidden area lit up with blood-red light. Every 1,000 stone statues formed a small circular formation, which was equivalent to a formation eye. The 90,000 small circular formations formed a large circular formation, which was a peak immortal void realm blood-red formation. This was a formation that the Cloud Lion had spent 100,000 years to set up with countless stone statues. It had a secret technique that could drain the blood of living creatures and petrify them. After petrifying humans and demonic beasts, they would be in a half-dead state and would turn into stone statues. The blood formation formed by the 90 million stone statues was called the 10,000 spirit blood formation. The Cloud Lion was furious. It knew that it was not a match for the scattered demon, but with the 10,000 spirit blood formation, it might not die at the hands of the scattered demon. It decided to fight the scattered demon. Blood formation activate. The Cloud Lion opened its mouth and spat out a ray of blood-red light that shot into the ground. In an instant, the 90 million stone statues that were floating with blood-red light shattered. The blood-red light formed a huge blood-red hexagram formation on the ground. Countless rays of blood-red light flew out from the hexagram formation and dispersed the demonic fog that covered the sky. The rays of light continued to attack the scattered demon. The scattered demon's eyes revealed a serious expression, but in the blink of an eye, he laughed arrogantly. "This formation is not bad. Ha! This blood-red light is formed from the souls of 90 million living beings. To me, it's a great supplement that's hard to come by. After devouring the blood rain, my cultivation will recover to its peak." Haha! Devour! The scattered demon laughed loudly and reversed the demonic chi. His body shattered into a monstrous demonic fog, which then turned into a huge black skull. The skull opened its mouth and swallowed. A boundless suction force came out and devoured the blood rain that filled the sky. The moment it swallowed the blood rain, the hexagram formation on the ground immediately dimmed, and the formation lines disappeared. A peak immortal void realm formation was devoured by the scattered demon. Impossible. I spent 100,000 years to set up this killing formation. The Cloud Lion could not believe what it was seeing. Then, an even more unbelievable scene appeared. After the black skull swallowed the blood rain, its aura rose. It laughed evilly and transformed back into the scattered demon's huge body. At this moment, the scattered demon was surrounded by a terrifying and ferocious blood-red light. The blood-red light contained the soul power of 90 million mortals, cultivators and demonic beasts. It was being refined by the scattered demon at a crazy rate. The scattered demon's aura rose steadily and gradually broke through the nine-shattering realm. Then it continued to rise towards the peak of the nine-shattering realm, all the way to the void fragmentation realm. An incomplete life immortal realm cultivator was definitely not comparable to a void fragmentation realm cultivator. When the scattered demon was at the 8-shattering realm, he was already strong enough to crush the Cloud Lion. Now that his cultivation base had completely recovered, killing the Cloud Lion was like killing an ant. Ning Fan's expression was filled with uncertainty. The improvement of the scattered demon's cultivation base was both good and bad. He could still control the scattered demon one more time. Now that his cultivation base had recovered, he would still have the power to fight against a rogue immortal. However, he could only control the scattered demon once. After the next time, the ancestral mourning puppet strings would surely be broken, and the scattered demon would probably rebel. Forget it. We'll talk about the future later. Kill the Cloud Lion. Let's kill him then. Ha! The scattered demon laughed loudly. He was in a good mood. He lifted his foot and stomped on the ground. A monstrous devil chi immediately spread out in all directions, dyeing the entire blood desert black. All of a sudden, millions of devil flames burned on the ground in the shape of black lotuses. The scattered demon stomped on the ground again. Millions of black lotuses immediately flew up and shot towards the Cloud Lion like meteors. It was the scattered demon's full force attack. If he encounters the sect masters of the three worlds again, it would be enough to incinerate them to death. The Cloud Lion did not dare to face the devil flames head-on. Shocked, he wanted to escape using the Earth Escape technique. However, he was shocked to find that the ground was already sealed by the scattered demon's devil chi. He could not use the Earth Escape technique. Run. Let's see where you can run to this time. Ha ha ha. The scattered demon laughed loudly. The monstrous devil flames rolled towards the Cloud Lion along with his laughter, turning into countless layers of black flames, drowning the Cloud Lion. Immediately, a hoarse roar of a lion resounded in the sea of flames. However, just a moment later, the roar gradually faded away and eventually, it could no longer be heard. The Cloud Lion was dead. Not good. Even the Cloud Lion is dead. I'm definitely going to die. The Rain Sovereign had been paying attention to the battlefield. When he saw the Cloud Lion activating the Grand Formation, he thought that he had a chance of winning. Who would have thought that the situation would be completely reversed in just a short while? After devouring the blood formation, the scattered devil's strength increased greatly. In the blink of an eye, the Cloud Lion had fallen without leaving a corpse. The Rain Emperor shivered all over. The terror of a loose demon caused him to be unable to summon the slightest bit of will to resist. He knew that he had to escape this time. If he couldn't escape, he would die here. He did not run towards the entrance of the third floor, which was guarded by Ning Fan, nor did he run towards the edge of the formation light. He activated the Battle Cloud Talisman. The speed of his traveling light was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. However, he could neither break the Grand Ceiling Formation nor fight against the Sinly Beast beneath Ning Fan's feet. No matter how fast he was, it was useless. There was no way to escape. This Emperor only has one last way to escape. Rain Gate open. The Rain Sovereign took out a jade scroll from the Gate of Rain and crushed it. He instantly summoned the Gate of Rain and opened up the realm passage. With his cultivation base, he did not need to spend a long time to summon the Rain Gate like Ning Fan. He only needed to do it in an instant. Originally, he had 4 jade slips from the Rain Gate. He had given Ning Fan 2 of them. Now he only had 2 left. One of them was blank and had yet to be located. The jade slip that he crushed was located in the mountain world. He had the most friends in the mountain world. If he wants to escape, he would certainly head to the mountain world. If I knew that Ning Fan has a rogue devil as his helper, I certainly wouldn't have the intention to kill him or provoke him. It's really too late for regrets. Fine. This brat is in the rain world. I definitely can't stay here and wait for death. I need to escape with my life first. If I have the chance in the future, I will return to the rain world and settle the old scores with this brat. The Rain Sovereign's eyes flashed with cold light. He took a step into the Rain Gate. Ning Fan watched the Rain Sovereign walk into the Rain Gate from afar and slowly closed his eyes. Even the sect masters of the three worlds could not escape from the rogue devil using the realm passage. Naturally, the Rain Sovereign could not do it either. Leave your primordial spirit behind. I want to search your soul, Ning Fan said indifferently. The rogue devil understood his intention. He let out a shrill howl and turned into devil mist, chasing after him into the realm passage. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the realm passage collapsed. As for the rogue devil, he brought the Rain Sovereign's primordial spirit and storage pouch back to the forbidden area of the third floor. He handed them to Ning Fan and said with a cold smile, "This is the second time I'm helping you. The next time will be the last time. Haha. When the time comes, keep." Ning Fan was too lazy to talk nonsense with the rogue devil. He patted the devil's sealing pouch and kept the rogue devil inside. Ning Fan was not in the mood to see what was inside the Rain Sovereign's storage pouch for now. He kept the Rain Sovereign's storage pouch and stared coldly at the illusory primordial spirit in his hand. The Rain Sovereign was nearly scared to death when he was stared at by Ning Fan's cold gaze. His body went limp and he opened his mouth to beg for mercy. "I was muddle-headed and that's why I attacked you. If you're willing to spare my life, I'm willing to share the Rain world with you equally. There's no need for that. Now, I just want your memories. That's all. Soul searching." Ning Fan placed his palm on the top of the Rain Sovereign's primordial spirit and performed the soul-searching and memory-erasing technique. At first, the Rain Sovereign was still screaming. Then his eyes became dull and he could no longer scream. Ning Fan searched through the Rain Sovereign's memories. In those memories, he saw the past where the Rain Sovereign dealt with the Thunder Sovereign. He saw the divination that the Rain Sovereign used, and the incident where the Rain Sovereign attacked Yin Tianjue. On that night, a seven-colored elderly man came to the Rain Palace and looked for the Rain Sovereign and the fourth prince. It's this part of the memories. Ning Fan suppressed the anger in his heart and closed his eyes. His mind sank into the Rain Sovereign's memories. In the heavenly cloud country of the Rain world more than 1,000 years ago, Ning Fan was dressed in white robes. He flew in the night sky of the heavenly cloud 10 regions. No one could see him. He did not belong to this part of the memories. He flew all the way to the ruling Sky City. Inside the ruling Sky City, in a top-secret palace, a seven-colored elderly man sat on a throne. The Rain Sovereign and another young cultivator stood below him. "I wonder what exalted immortal has come to my palace." The Rain Sovereign cupped his fists and lowered his head. He did not dare to raise his head to look at the seven-colored elderly man at all. That person was so terrifying that it made him shudder. That person's cultivation base was beyond his understanding. The Rain Sovereign could not afford to anger that seven-colored elderly man at all. Ning Fan landed outside the palace and passed through the formation light. He stood outside the palace gate and coldly looked at the scene inside the palace. The Rain Sovereign could not see him. The young cultivator could not see him as well. Only the seven-colored elderly man exclaimed softly when he saw Ning Fan appear. He pinched his fingers and calculated, but he could not figure out anything. Was it just my imagination? The seven-colored elderly man smiled faintly and continued. "Initially, I wanted to find a Tao corpse for my disciple in the Rain world. I didn't expect that I would accidentally find a divine-grade Tao corpse. Is it the fate of a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon and becoming an ordinary mortal that defies the heavens? How interesting. In that case, I need to change the Tao corpse. Let this unborn child become one of the 7 Tao corpses of Si Ming." Chapter 627. Forget it. Let's change the Tao corpse. Fortunately, the plan doesn't need to change too much even if we change the Tao corpse. The seven-colored old man smiled and muttered to himself. Tao corpse. The Rain Sovereign and the young man were stunned. They did not understand what he meant. With their limited experience, they naturally did not know what a Tao corpse was. However, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold the moment he heard the words Tao corpse. In the ancient cultivation world, there was a method to achieve immortality by dismembering one's corpse. It allowed a cultivator to experience life and death first, and then transcend it. The corpse devil record that Ning Fan cultivated contained the method to achieve immortality. The essence of the corpse devil record could be summarized in one sentence. Put yourself in a dead end, and then be reborn. First cultivate a corpse and then achieve immortality by dismembering one's corpse. Normally, it was rare for 1 in 10,000 cultivators to achieve immortality by dismembering one's corpse. Many cultivators could achieve death by dismembering one's corpse, but they could not achieve rebirth. To Ning Fan, the success rate of achieving immortality by dismembering one's corpse was very high. If he completes the third corpse transformation, the success rate would be at least 20%. Compared to the 1 in 10,000 success rate of ordinary people, it could be said to be very high. Of course, if he could not complete the third corpse transformation, Ning Fan would not dare to attempt it. The failure rate was just too high. Due to the high failure rate, the ancient cultivators found another way and created the Dao corpse technique. They used other people's corpse to dismember and devour their Dao to become immortals. Since the Dao corpse technique was not righteous and the technique itself had some flaws that could not be improved, it was gradually lost in history. The Rain Sovereign was a sovereign being, but he was just an ant in the mortal world. It was not surprising that he had never heard of Dao corpses. As for that young man, his cultivation base was only at the peak divine transformation realm. His knowledge was limited, and it was impossible for him to have heard of Dao corpses. Ning Fan's gaze swept past the Rain Sovereign, and did not stop there. Then he looked at the young man. From the Rain Sovereign's memories, he learned that the young man was the fourth prince of the Rain Palace, Yin Feiyang. He was the most talented among the Rain Sovereign's sons. His intelligence and temperament were all top-notch. He was the former master of the Tower of Sealed Rain, and he was the next Rain Emperor that the Rain Emperor had decided to be. He was the most outstanding young man in the Rain world until Yin Tianjue appeared and took away all his glory. He had participated in the conspiracy against Yin Tianjue, and in the end, he was killed by Yin Tianjue with a single sword strike. Finally, Ning Fan's gaze moved away from Yin Feiyang and landed on the seven-colored elderly man. This person's body shone with seven-colored light, and ordinary people couldn't see his appearance at all. Ning Fan could only hear a hint of old age from the person's voice. He guessed that the person's appearance was probably quite old. Luo Yu's words echoed in his mind. The seven-colored light around the old man was the color of providence. This person possessed seven-colored luck, and was most likely an immortal emperor from the upper realm. During the era of the immortal king, there were 1 billion worlds and 1 billion immortal emperors. There weren't many immortal emperors left in the four heavens immortal realm, only a few hundred. Of course, it was unknown whether there were other hidden immortal emperors. Ning Fan activated his human eye, demon eye and devil eye, trying to see through the seven-colored luck of the elderly man and see his true appearance. He pushed his eyesight to the limit, and gradually, he saw a strand of silver hair in the gap of the seven-colored fate. This seven-colored elderly man was actually a silver-haired immortal emperor. The color of his hair was not the usual white of an old man. Instead, it was silver that was as bright as the stars. It seemed to have been dyed by this person's ability. There shouldn't be many immortal emperors who have such hair color. Just by looking at a strand of silver hair, Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. More than half of his sword consciousness had collapsed. His sea of consciousness was seriously injured. The third eye on his glabella suddenly dimmed. Then it broke into countless cracks like a piece of glass. This eye was also heavily injured. As for his left and right eyes, black blood flowed out at the same time. Both of his eyes were also injured. Ning Fan was inwardly shocked. He just peeked at the appearance of an immortal emperor from the Rain Sovereign's memory, and he actually couldn't withstand the aura force of an immortal emperor. He just peeked at a strand of silver hair of an immortal emperor, and he already suffered such a huge backlash. If he peeked at an immortal emperor in the real world, the backlash would probably be even worse. If he's not careful, he would probably die without even leaving a corpse. The weak couldn't even see the face of the strong clearly. Ning Fan did not regret it even though his sea of consciousness and his eyes were severely injured. After all, he saw a strand of silver hair of this seven-colored elderly man. If he wants to find this person in the future, he would naturally be able to narrow down the search area. Ningfan was almost certain that this seven-colored elderly man in front of him was the culprit who seized his father's memory and caused his mother to suffer. In the past, his bloodline was most likely extracted by this person. Moreover, when Ningfan saw this person, he vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. However, he could not explain it clearly. At this moment, Ningfan still did not know that this seven-colored elderly man was the immortal emperor who schemed against him in the past. In the past, in order to escape from the scheme, Ningfan did not hesitate to pollute his own luck and accidentally awaken the Fuli demon blood. Unknowingly, he had already fought with this person once. Currently, Ningfan was still unaware of all these things. He secretly made up his mind that when his cultivation base was strong enough in the future, he would certainly look for this silver-haired immortal emperor and avenge his parents. Currently, he did not have the power to resist an immortal emperor. Thus, he naturally would not think about revenge. He put away his distracting thoughts and stopped thinking about it. Then, he quietly listened to the conversation in the palace. The seven-colored elderly man did not tell the Rain Sovereign and the fourth prince what the Tao corpse was. He only told them that he wanted to deal with someone. Yin Tianjue. The Rain Sovereign and his son naturally did not expect that a dignified great being of the upper world would deal with a junior from the lower world. After all, Yin Tianjue was just a divine transformation realm junior. It was impossible for him to have the chance to offend a great being of the upper world. The Rain Sovereign and his son did not dare to ask the reason why the seven-colored elderly man wanted to deal with Yin Tianjue. They also did not want to ask. To the Rain Sovereign, the current Yin Tianjue was just a divine transformation realm junior. He was not worthy of fear, nor was he worthy of attention. He was insignificant. To the fourth prince, Yin Tianjue was the person who had taken away all of his glory. Death could not wipe out his crimes. Thus, he was very willing to help the seven-colored elderly man deal with Yin Tianjue. In the end, the seven-colored elderly man wanted to discuss the specific plan with the fourth prince alone. Thus, he sent the Rain Sovereign away. In the Rain Sovereign's memory, he did not know how the seven-colored elderly man was going to deal with Yin Tianjue. However, when the Rain Sovereign left the secret hall of the ruling Sky City, he heard something the seven-colored elderly man said to the fourth prince. I have calculated with my fingers. That Yin Tianjue seems to regard his Tao companion as his own life. Let's use this as an opening to destroy his Tao heart. Oh yeah, his child seems to be about to be born. Hee. Bang. The scenes in front of his eyes suddenly exploded into countless memory fragments. Ningfan withdrew his consciousness from the scene. He held the primordial spirit of the Rain Sovereign in his hand, and remained silent for a long time. Even though he did not see the process of how the seven-colored elderly man dealt with Yin Tianjue, he was already certain that this person was the culprit who had harmed his parents. Ningfan was never a magnanimous person. It was even more impossible for him to not take revenge for the death of his parents. If he finds out who the seven-colored elderly man was one day and had enough cultivation base to take revenge, he would certainly take revenge 10 times more. Before that, he must pretend that he did not know anything about this matter. He also did not plan to inquire about any information about the silver-haired immortal emperor. Without sufficient strength, he must be cautious. Looking at the empty third floor of the forbidden area, Ningfan only felt that fate was really ridiculous. Before he was even born, he had already fallen into the immortal emperor's trap. He had yet to harbor any hostility towards the Rain Sovereign, but the latter just relied on a divination to determine that he was his archenemy and must be killed. Yunzhongshuan, from the beginning to the end, I have never thought of stopping you from becoming an immortal because I disdain it. To put it bluntly, with your innate potential, do you think you are worthy of becoming an immortal? If you are worthy of becoming an immortal, which divine sovereign in the 9 worlds can't? However, I have to admit that the divination is really accurate. Perhaps, after knowing that you have murdered my parents, I will eventually take revenge on you and crush you with my absolute strength. Unfortunately, you have brought that day forward. The Rain Sovereign probably could not understand Ningfan's words. He had already turned into an idiot after Ningfan searched his soul. Ningfan clenched his fist and crushed the Rain Sovereign's primordial spirit. killing him completely. In this way, he had truly killed the Rain Sovereign. However, so what if he had already killed him? He no longer owed the Rain Palace anything. Zili, stay with me for a while. I'm a little tired. Ningfan sat on Nieli's beautiful neck and stroked her smooth down feathers with a gentle smile. In his eyes, the purple-eyed Nieli was just a small animal, just like the little sable Mei Chun in the past. Ningfan would not show cowardice in front of his enemies, nor would he show fatigue in front of his loved ones. However, in front of a small animal, there was no need for him to hide anything. Throughout the journey, Ningfan's appearance did not age, but his heart was very tired. There were endless enemies and an endless sea of blood. He still had a long way to go in this path of devil cultivation. If the price of immortality is a lifetime of killing and exhaustion, he would rather not seek immortality. If the price of being unstoppable is a lifetime of loneliness, Ningfan would not seek to be unstoppable. Unfortunately, what he pursued was never these things. Besides, it was impossible for him to jump out of this sea of blood of cultivation. If he could not jump out, then so be it. He was already satisfied as long as he could protect the people behind him and those memories. He had been killing endlessly while Ji-He and the other women were indeed living a leisurely life in Yu country without staining their hands with blood. His efforts were not in vain. He could do it without staining his hands with blood. Shriek. Nieli let out a soft cry as if she was comforting him. Ningfan patted Nieli's head and stood up. The tiredness in his eyes was no longer there. Let's go. After killing the Rain Sovereign, I need to give the cultivators of the Rain World an explanation and find a way to calm them down. The chaos in the Rain World is not what I want. After all, I am also a cultivator of the Rain World. Ningfan stepped on Nieli and flew out of the forbidden area. He had already made up his mind. More and more cultivators of the Rain Palace flocked to the Directorate of Heaven. Some of the cultivators who had fainted were also saved and gathered at the place. The fluctuations caused by the attacks of the rogue devils were too great. The entire heavenly cloud country shook violently for a long time as if there was an earthquake. The terrifying tremors made many old monsters look worried. Judging from the tremors, there were people fighting in the forbidden area. These old monsters could not guess who was fighting who. If it was the Rain Sovereign and Ningfan who were fighting the corpse devils, it would be fine. If Ningfan and the Rain Sovereign were to break off their relationship, they did not dare to think about the consequences. Moreover, the tremors could spread from the forbidden area to the ground. It was enough to show how powerful the battle was. Some old monsters could not help but feel doubtful. With Ningfan and the Rain Sovereign's strength, even if they unleashed their strongest abilities, it did not seem to be enough to cause such violent tremors. Could it be that there are experts at the fifth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, and above fighting in the forbidden area? How is that possible? At this moment, the tremors gradually stopped. In the Directorate of Heaven City, a cultivator who stayed behind to guard the city suddenly sent a shocking news. The Rain Sovereign's life plate was broken. The Rain Sovereign has fallen. The Rain Sovereign has fallen. As soon as the news spread, countless cultivators began to panic. The Directorate of Heaven City was in chaos. Chapter 628. The Rain Sovereign is dead. The Rain Sovereign is dead. As soon as the news spread, countless cultivators began to panic. It must be Ningfan who killed the Rain Sovereign. He deserves to die. Some loyal cultivators of the Rain Sovereign roared. Could it be the corpse beasts in the forbidden area that injured the Rain Sovereign? Some of them guessed. Impossible. There is no void fragmentation realm expert among the corpse beasts. It's impossible for them to harm the Rain Sovereign. It must be Ningfan who killed the Rain Sovereign. So what if Marquis White Robe killed the Rain Sovereign? From now on, the Rain World will be without a ruler. We are willing to make Marquis White Robe the divine sovereign of our Rain World and unify it. Some devil cultivators sneered. Nonsense. The orthodox cultivators of our Rain Palace are the righteous profound cultivators. How can we allow a devil cultivator to be the sovereign? Discussions could be heard everywhere. Most of the people who were discussing loudly were low-level cultivators with unstable minds. Those old monsters who were really shrewd would not easily express their opinions no matter how shocked they were at the moment. If the Rain Sovereign was not killed by Ning Fan, they would be courting death if they tried to smear Ning Fan's name. If the Rain Sovereign was really killed by Ning Fan, the situation would be even more serious. The Rain Sovereign was the strongest cultivator in the Rain world. If Ning Fan dared to kill the Rain Sovereign, it was even more impossible to offend him. Offending a devil cultivator who dared to kill a sovereign, and was capable of doing so, was simply courting death. One should know that a loose tongue can cause one's clan to be wiped out with just a single wrong word. The 5th Prince Yun Zhongyan and the 7th Prince Yun Jinghong were sitting cross-legged to heal their injuries. As soon as they heard the news of the Rain Sovereign's death, both of them were stunned. There was no sorrow in their eyes but only fear and panic. Yin Xiaoxiang's eyes, on the other hand, were a little gloomy. After a while he sighed again. He knew that he was no match for Ning Fan. If Ning Fan really killed the Rain Sovereign, he would never dare to have the intention to take revenge for the rest of his life. Yin Yomu, on the other hand, had a deeper thought. He was very sure that the Rain Sovereign was killed by Ning Fan. He remembered Ning Fan's words, "If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain." Before entering the forbidden area, Ning Fan probably did not plan to kill the Rain Sovereign. Most probably, the Rain Sovereign had done something that crossed Ning Fan's bottom line in the Rain Sovereign. "Father, you are too obsessed with becoming an immortal. That's why you are blinded by it. You shouldn't have offended him." These 4 princes had different attitudes towards Ning Fan's. However, there was one thing that the 4 of them did that was exactly the same, and that was that they did not feel sad about the Rain Emperor's death. It was as if they were bystanders. The Rain Emperor had lived a cold and merciless life. For the sake of becoming a celestial, he had given up many things. The sons that he had raised were mostly cold-blooded people, not worth mentioning. The only one who felt sad for the death of the Rain Emperor was Yin Bushu. He was not the son of the Rain Emperor, but they had known each other for many years, so when he suddenly heard the news of the Rain Emperor's death, he was still slightly disappointed. However, he naturally would not blame Ning Fan for killing the Rain Sovereign. He knew that the Rain Sovereign had done a lot of wrong things in this life, and he deserved to die. Sigh, it's a pity that the Rain Immortal world only has one emperor. Without him, the Rain Immortal world will fall into chaos. Yin Daoke heaved a sigh. His eyeballs rolled quickly with a hint of excitement. There was no emperor in the Rain world, so there was definitely a need for a new emperor to be elected. He really wanted to fight for the position of emperor. Of course, if his competitor is Ning Fan, he definitely would not dare to fight for the position. He had been extremely afraid of Ning Fan for a long time. Is the Rain world going to lose its emperor again? Yin Qingge let out a faint sigh. She was not sighing for Yun Zhongshuan, but thinking of her father, the previous Rain Sovereign Hong Yun. Killing the emperor. Hee. I wonder what the future of the Rain world will be like. Chu Chang'an chuckled. He was not concerned about the survival of the Rain Palace. He was a demon dragon that was subdued by the previous Rain Sovereign, Yao Yun. He was only loyal to Yao Yun and the Rain Palace that was under Yao Yun's rule. He did not have a good impression of Yin Zhongshuan. In fact, he even had a bad impression of him. Yin Zhongshuan's death made him feel happy. The Pill Sovereign's face was filled with worry. He was worried about the future of the Rain world, and also worried about Ning Fan who had yet to return. Ning Fan had killed the Rain Sovereign. This matter was probably true. However, did the Rain Sovereign also risk his life to injure Ning Fan? If Ning Fan was not injured or dead, why didn't he leave the forbidden area? I hope this child is safe and sound. Otherwise, what face do I have to give Han Yuanji an explanation? The Pill Sovereign thought of his friendship with the old devil and sighed heavily. Just as everyone was sighing, a Gold Core Realm old man suddenly clapped his hands and said with mixed feelings of joy and sorrow, "Ha! That old man Yun Zhongshuan is dead. It's great that he died. It's great that he died. In the past, he kidnapped 700 members of my clan and killed them. Now that he has died in the forbidden area, it's really karma. Fellow Taoist, you're right. Many of my disciples were also kidnapped by the Rain Sovereign, and all of them were killed. In the past, I didn't dare to mention this matter to anyone because of the Rain Sovereign's reputation. Now that the Rain Sovereign is dead, what else do I have to fear? Another nascent soul realm old man cried tears of joy. There were a total of 3,413 cultivators in our country. All of them were kidnapped and killed by the Rain Sovereign. There were also tens of thousands of mortals who were kidnapped. Among the disciples of this old man, half of them were abducted and killed by the Rain Emperor. Gradually, many cultivators in the Directorate of Heaven began to announce the Rain Emperor's crimes. Many old monsters knew about this, but no one dared to talk about it openly. But now the Rain Emperor was dead, and there were many who had suffered from the Rain Emperor's death who were celebrating. If one were to take a closer look, those who were grieving over the Rain Emperor's death were in the minority, and those who were overjoyed were in the majority. How dare you? A mere ant dares to slander His Majesty the Divine Emperor. Venerable Ming was a loyal follower of the Rain Emperor, so he naturally would not allow anyone to casually criticize the Rain Emperor, even if the Rain Emperor was already dead. In a fit of rage, he almost wanted to kill these dissenters. At this moment, a ray of light shot out from under the ground of the ruling Sky City. It turned into the figure of a young man in white robes. He was stepping on a gigantic beast called Sinli Beast and landed on the ground. As soon as Ning Fan arrived, the discussions of the hundreds of thousands of cultivators at the scene instantly turned silent. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. At this moment, no one dared to speak. Not only did they not dare to speak, they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They were not only intimidated by Ning Fan's ferocious might, but also by Nie Li's powerful aura force. Nie Li's aura was even stronger than the Rain Emperor's. Ning Fan, who was stepping on Nie Li Beast, gave people a feeling that they could not look at him directly. Only Venerable Ming and the hundreds of loyal followers of the Rain Emperor gathered their courage and walked out from the crowd. They glared at Ning Fan and said, "Where is the Rain Emperor?" "He died in my hands," Ning Fan said loudly without any intention to deny it. He was the one who killed Nie Li Beast. Since he was the one who killed Nie Li Beast, there was no need for him to hide it. "You deserve to die." Venerable Ming and the hundreds of loyal followers of the Rain Emperor were enraged. All of them rushed at Ning Fan like moths flying into a flame. Ning Fan glanced at Venerable Ming and the others indifferently. Then he looked at the four princes, Yin Xiaoxiang, Yin Zhongyan, Yin Youmu and Yin Jinghong. His face was filled with surprise. Ning Fan guessed that the news of the Rain Emperor's death had probably spread across the entire ruling Sky City. However, none of the four sons of the Rain Emperor were sad. Instead, they were afraid of him and wanted to please him. This made him despise the behavior of the four princes very much. On the contrary, Ning Fan was rather impressed by the death warriors like Venerable Ming. Even though these people were unwise, they did not lose their benevolence and righteousness. Of course, it was their benevolence and righteousness. It had nothing to do with Ning Fan. From their standpoint, Venerable Ming and the others were his enemies. In fact, the one who used the technique to kill Ning Fan in the past was Venerable Ming. Among the four stages, the one who harbored ill intentions against Ning Fan was also Venerable Ming. Enemies must die. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future. However, to these people it was enough to just kill them once. It could be considered as a compliment to their loyalty and bravery. Choose the right master in your next life. Ning Fan pointed out a finger. The physical bodies of all the cultivators, including Venerable Ming, crumbled into blood mist, and they died. Even though they died, Ning Fan did not destroy their souls. With a flick of his sleeves, waves of golden-purple mist swirled up and sent them to the cycle of samsara. All of his enemies must be eradicated. However, Yin Jinghong and the other princes might not have to be killed. Seeing how Ning Fan killed revered Ming and the others without batting an eyelid, and even admitted the fact that he had killed the Rain Sovereign himself, countless old monsters shuddered in fear for a moment. Ning Fan was a true devil cultivator. He would never show mercy to those who deserved to be killed. After killing them, he would not even bother to deny it. After he killed the Rain Emperor, perhaps the next thing he would do would be to cleanse the Rain Palace. The fate of Venerable Ming and the others would probably be the same as theirs. Most of the cultivators on the scene belonged to the Rain Palace. Even though most of them were not loyal to the Rain Emperor, they were still his subordinates. No one knew to what extent Ning Fan would cleanse the Rain Palace. At this moment, many old monsters who were as steady as a rock were already trembling. No one doubted that Ning Fan had the strength to slaughter all the cultivators here. Just by looking at Nieli, no one could muster up the courage to resist. The expressions of Yin Jinghong and the other princes changed drastically. It was because Ning Fan suddenly stepped on Nieli and flew towards the four of them. All of them were severely injured. They did not have the strength to fight at all. Even if they were in their peak condition, they would not be a match for Nieli. The four of them were filled with despair. All they knew was that they were going to die in Ning Fan's hands. However, this time, Ning Fan did not kill them. He just said coldly, "I killed the Rain Emperor. You are his sons. I don't believe you." It was a very simple sentence without any pretense. "Because you are the sons of the Rain Emperor, I don't believe you." Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan's faces turned pale. From their point of view, Ning Fan's next step would be to eliminate them. Yin Youmu and Yin Xiaoxiang, on the other hand, were intelligent people. They understood the hidden meaning in Ning Fan's words. As long as they could make Ning Fan believe that they would not seek revenge on him in this lifetime, their lives would be spared. "If Marquis White Robe is willing, you can place a restriction on us. We will not dare to resist." Yin Xiaoxiang took the initiative to express his stance. He no longer had the arrogance of a favored son of the heavens. "I can allow you to place a restriction on me. I can also allow you to destroy my cultivation base." Yin Youmu was even more ruthless. "If you still don't feel at ease after placing a restriction on me, you can just destroy my cultivation base. You can be at ease after destroying my cultivation base, right?" Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan regained their senses. They imitated Ning Fan's words and said, "As long as Marquis White Robe spares our lives, we are willing to obey any of your orders without any objection." "Nonsense. If we have any objection, we will certainly die." The words and deeds of the four princes made many cultivators of the Rain Palace sigh with emotion. However, no one laughed at them. As a cultivator, being willing to be a slave in the face of a strong enemy was also a way to protect oneself. It was very common and not shameful. Ning Fan noticed that the four princes were not stupid, and they knew how to compromise. Thus, he did not plan to kill them. His enemies, of course, must be eliminated. However, these four princes might not necessarily be his enemies. Perhaps they would be good servants. "Everyone, what do you think is the most suitable way for me to deal with these four princes?" Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the crowd and asked. Each of the old monsters was either as quiet as cicadas in winter, or they lowered their heads in silence. Just as they were about to speak, they were immediately reminded by the people around them. No one answered Ning Fan's question directly. All of them were prepared to stand aside and watch. The Pill Sovereign and the others were already on Ning Fan's side. Thus, they would not interfere with Ning Fan's decision. "Is there no one who wants to speak?" "Actually, the one who holds a grudge against me is the Rain Sovereign. He is already dead. I don't want to kill again and weaken the Rain world. If the four of you die, the Rain world will become weaker. This is not a situation I want to see." Moksha Sovereign dared to descend upon the Rain world openly and invade the 7 Apricot City because the Rain world was weak. If the Rain world becomes weaker, the experts of the other worlds would probably run amok in the Rain world even more unscrupulously. "I don't trust you. I want to plant a mental seal on you so that you will never be able to betray me in this lifetime. Are you willing to do this?" Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the four princes. Hearing that they were going to be planted with a mental seal, Yin Xiaoxiang sighed with mixed feelings. Yin Youmu was a little disappointed, but he did not dare to disobey the order. "The two of us are willing." As for Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan, they were overjoyed when they heard that they would not be killed. They said to Ning Fan gratefully, "Marquis White Robe, please plant a seal on us." Seeing that the four of them did not have any objections, Ning Fan did not say much. He directly spread out his spirit sense and invaded their sea of consciousness. The four of them were very cooperative. They did not dare to disobey the order. Not long after that, Ning Fan had already planted a demon seal on them. Demon seal? None of them expected that Ning Fan would plant a demon seal on them instead of the human race's mental seal. Even though he was surprised, he didn't say anything. The restriction has been planted. Now I trust you. There's something I want you to do. May I ask what instructions Marquis White Robe has? The four princes didn't dare dally, and they stood up and asked. You are the sons of the Rain Sovereign, so you should know that those people here are the Rain Sovereign's trusted aides. Find these people and inform me. I will plant a restriction on all of them to control them. This is easy. Initially, the four princes thought that Ning Fan would kill all of them after finding them. However, when they heard that there was no need to kill them and it was just a restriction, they agreed without any hesitation. One more thing. From today onwards, I Ning am the Rain Emperor. Ning Fan's voice was very indifferent. However, as soon as it spread out, everyone's expression changed. Sure enough, Ning Fan is going to be the emperor. However, the divine sovereign of the rain world isn't Ning Fan alone. Ning Fan knew himself well. He would never stay in the rain immortal world for a long time. As for his future, it was hard to tell. Therefore, I would like to invite Senior Li to be the co-emperor. I'll be in charge of killing, and you'll be in charge of controlling the rain. What do you think? Ning Fan's eyes looked at the Pill Sovereign with a pleading look. Once the Rain Sovereign dies, the person with the highest prestige in the rain world would definitely be the Pill Sovereign. Everyone was convinced by his identity as a 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. The Pill Sovereign was needed to govern the rain world. Ning Fan was not that kind of person. He even threw the management of 7 Apricot City to Su Qiuling and the other women. He made it very clear that he was only responsible for killing people. That was all. That was enough. As for letting his wives and concubines manage the rain world, it was not what he wanted. He just wanted to give those women a peaceful life. He did not want them to get involved in the disputes between the worlds. Having the Pill Sovereign was enough. The Pill Sovereign was trustworthy and worthy of Ning Fan entrusting his life to him. Forget it, I'll join you and become the Rain Emperor. From today onwards, the rain world will have 2 sovereigns. I am sovereignly. What about you? Stinking brat? The Pill Sovereign focused on pill refinement. Originally, he did not have the mood to govern the rain world. However, after seeing Ning Fan's request, he no longer refused. Even though he agreed to Ning Fan's request, he was still a little reluctant. Look, the Rain Sovereign is always on guard against this. Who is he worried about? He is afraid that someone will compete with him for the position of the Rain Sovereign. It seems like the position of the Rain Sovereign is not something that everyone wants. Then the Pill Sovereign threw out a question. What should Ning Fan's title be? From the Pill Sovereign's point of view, since Ning Fan was born in Yu country, it would probably be better to call him Emperor of Yu. Or should he be called Black Sovereign after being born in the Black Devil sect? Or should he be like him and use his surname as Emperor and be called Ning Huang? Evil Sovereign. The sin of sin. Ning Fan sighed. He had been killing all along the way and had committed countless sins. Even though he had a clear conscience, his sins would not disappear like smoke. The word sin was a reminder to himself. He hoped that he would not be lost in the sea of blood of cultivation and commit unforgivable sins for the sake of illusory things. Evil Sovereign? It sounds very similar to Moksha Sovereign of the Devil World. Maybe someone will call me by the wrong name. The Pill Sovereign joked. He had heard about the grudges between Ning Fan and Moksha Sovereign from Old Devil. It's alright. Moksha Sovereign of the Devil World will die in my hands eventually. No one will dare to call me the Evil Sovereign wrongly. On the other hand, Nieli, who was standing under Ning Fan's feet, was very happy. From her point of view, the word sin in the name of the Evil Sovereign did not mean sin. Instead, it meant the Evil Li. The Evil Sovereign was the sovereign of the Evil Li. That's right. What an appropriate title. Only he who was the ancestor of the Fu Li clan was qualified to be called the Evil Sovereign. He was the one who controlled all the Evil Li. But, why not call him Emperor Li? All the emperors of the Fu Li clan had this name in the past generations. She really wanted to tell Ning Fan that Emperor Li was better. Unfortunately, She could only let out a low cry and could not speak a word. It seemed like Ning Fan could only call him the evil sovereign. She could not stop him. Chapter 629. Once the title was confirmed, the fact that Ning Fan and the Pill Sovereign would be in charge of the Rain World together almost immediately became a fact. No one was allowed to question it. From then on, Li Tsungtian no longer called himself the Pill Sovereign, but the Li Sovereign. His real name was Li Tsungtian, and Emperor Li was his master's title, which he had inherited. Ning Fan called it sin. The word sin referred to one's introspection and self-questioning. After Ning Fan and Li Tsungtian decided to declare themselves as sovereigns, some old monsters who were good at adapting to the situation cupped their fists and congratulated them. Ning Fan, on the other hand, waved his hand, signaling everyone not to be in a hurry to congratulate him. Among you, there are some trusted aides of the Rain Emperor, and I don't trust them. For princes, please find these people and let Senior Li plant a restriction on them. As for the 9 Great Hall Masters, a few of them need to be replaced. I'll return to Yu country and go into seclusion. I'll have to trouble Senior Li to handle everything. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Li Tsungtian with a smile. Then he sent a message to Yun Bushu via telepathy. Stepping on the Sinli mountain, he directly returned to Yu country, leaving all the mess to Li Tsungtian to handle. The cultivators of the Rain World who were present at the scene were left speechless. Since ancient times, there were only a few divine sovereigns who would neglect their proper duties like Ning Fan. Of course, no one dared to criticize him in public. Li Tsungtian was stunned. Then he looked at the direction where Ning Fan had left. Li Tsungtian knew that the reason why Ning Fan was in such a hurry to return to Yu country was probably related to the search for his mother. Perhaps Ning Fan had already found his mother and was in a hurry to return to Yu country. Or perhaps something had happened to his mother. Yun Bushu's eyes widened. Ning Fan's voice was still echoing in his ears. I have a favor to ask, third uncle. If my father returns to the Rain Palace, tell him that I've found the person he's been searching for. She's currently safe and sound. Yun Bushu did not expect that Ning Fan would actually address him as third uncle and Yun Tianjue as his father. Ning Fan's tone was no longer as distant as before, which really made him feel incredulous. What he did not expect was that Ning Fan had actually found the person that Yun Tianjue had been looking for. Ning Qian. Could it be that Ning Qian is trapped in the forbidden area? Could it be that Ning Fan broke into the forbidden area just to save my mother? Yun Bushu's eyes were filled with joy, excitement, sorrow, and anger. He was happy and excited because Ning Qian had been found safe and sound. To his big brother Tianju, it was a piece of good news. He sighed because Yun Tianjue had already lost his memories and his 7 emotions. Although he was persistently searching for someone, he didn't even know who he was looking for. He was furious because Ning Qian was actually trapped in the Rain Emperor's forbidden land. Could it be that it was the doing of the Rain Emperor? For a moment, the last trace of disappointment that Yun Bushu felt due to the death of the Rain Emperor gradually disappeared. The Rain Emperor had really brought this upon himself, and couldn't bear it. Yin Qingge looked at Ning Fan's back as he left. He wanted to say something but hesitated. She had a question to ask Ning Fan. She wanted to ask Ning Fan where did the Rain Sovereign token come from. The Rain Sovereign token should have disappeared along with her father. Why would it be in Ning Fan's hands? Why? If she knows where Ning Fan found the Rain Sovereign's token from, perhaps she might be able to find her father's remains. Yin Qingge did not know that his father was still alive and was currently trapped in the Lost World Tower. She secretly made up her mind that if she had the chance, she would look for Ning Fan and ask him about the doubts in her heart. Now was not the time to ask about it. Yin Qingge could tell that Ning Fan had something important to deal with since he was in a hurry to return to Yu country. She would ask about the doubts in her heart later. The 4 imperial princes identified the trusted aides of the Rain Emperor in the crowd and handed them over to Li Tsungtian to plant a restriction on them. Li Tsungtian would then be in charge of their lives. The new emperor had just been appointed, so all the trivial matters were handled by Li Tsungtian. The announcement of the Rain Emperor's death, the fake news, as well as the news of the new emperor's ascension to the throne, All of these also needed to be handled properly. Even though everyone was well aware that the Rain Sovereign was killed by Ning Fan, they could not tell others about it. To the public, we can say that the Rain Sovereign accidentally entered the forbidden area and was harmed by the corpse beasts, some cultivators of the Rain world suggested. If he announces to the public that Ning Fan had killed the Rain Sovereign and usurped the throne, it would inevitably cause the cultivators of the Rain world to panic. Some things it was enough for everyone to know. After the death of the Rain Sovereign, the Rain world would normally be plunged into chaos. However, due to Ning Fan's sudden ascension to the throne, no one dared to create chaos in the blink of an eye. From now on, the Rain world belonged to Ning Fan. None of the Void Glimpse stage cultivators in the Rain world dared to make Ning Fan their enemy. Some of the old monsters gradually began to harbor hope in their hearts. The death of a weak and incompetent Rain Emperor, who was jealous of the virtuous and capable, and the arrival of a new Rain Emperor who was aggressive and had a bright future ahead of him, should be a good thing for the Rain realm. With the speed at which Ning Fan rose to power, his future would certainly be boundless. The Rain world might be able to get rid of its awkward position of being the weakest in the 9 worlds. Everyone had their own thoughts. Yu Cheng, on the other hand, had pure thoughts. She was happy and slightly disappointed. She was happy that Ning Fan was safe and sound. That was good enough. She was disappointed that Ning Fan had actually become the new Rain Sovereign. His status was revered, and it gave her a feeling that he was too high to reach. Gradually, she began to feel a little inferior. However, she did not realize that she was feeling inferior. She felt that she must be sick. Otherwise, why would she feel unhappy when she saw Ning Fan ascending to the sovereign realm? It was obviously a good thing. Why would she feel unhappy? Why? Ning Fan rode on Nieli and left the heavenly cloud state and the middle state. He quietly returned to Yu country. With Nieli's speed, he would return in a day. Under Li Tsongtian's blockade, the news of the Rain Sovereign's death and the new Rain Sovereign's succession had yet to spread in the Rain world. When Ning Fan rode on Nieli back to Yu country, the cultivators of Yu country naturally did not know that he had already become the new Rain Sovereign. However, when they saw Nieli under Ning Fan's feet, all of them were shocked. Nieli's aura force was too strong. It was so strong that no one dared to look at it directly. Even though ordinary cultivators knew that Nieli was strong, they could only guess that it was above the divine transformation realm. However, Ming Ke, Su Yan Meichen and the other women knew how terrifying it was. Is this the Nieli that Ning Fan subdued? Mu Luo, who was sitting opposite Yu Huang and drinking wine at the bottom of the Dark Sparrow's grave, suddenly had a flash of light in his eyes. Then he let out a sigh. Ning Fan was able to subdue such a powerful demon beast with his origin returning realm cultivation base. Indeed, he was not someone that ordinary people could compare with. The Nieli that killed the Vine Sovereign. Interesting. Little Fanfan is actually riding on Nieli in public. Isn't he afraid that the Rain Sovereign will know about it? The thoughts of the ancient Chaos Inheritor are really hard to guess. It will be very interesting to pester this person for a lifetime. In the Godly Void Pavilion, the little demoness was leisurely enjoying her tea. Suddenly, she let out an evil smile. Where did you get this huge bird from? It's so powerful. When Ning Fan rode on Nieli back to 7 Apricot City, Ming Ke was the first one who came out to greet him and exclaimed. However, when she saw Ning Fan's extremely serious injuries, she asked worriedly. Such heavy injuries. What happened? Screech. Nieli was a little displeased when she was called a huge bird. Moreover, she could feel that Ming Ke also had an extremely strong true spirit bloodline, which made her even more displeased. All the existing true spirits were the enemies of the Fuli clan. This immemorial Dark Sparrow is my friend. You can't attack her. Ning Fan squatted down and stroked Nieli's neck to comfort her. Screech. Nieli let out a low cry and agreed. Even though she did not like the members of the True Spirit clan, she would treat Ming Ke differently if she was Ning Fan's friend. Ning Fan stood up and patted Ming Ke's tiny head. It's just a small injury. Don't worry about it. This purple-eyed peacock's name is Zili. She's my demon mount. She's one of us. I'm going into seclusion. Tell the others about Zili and tell them not to panic. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan kept Nieli into his cauldron ring. With a flash, he returned to Si Fan Palace. It's a female, huh? Hearing Ning Fan's relaxed tone, Ming Ke felt relieved. She was no longer worried about Ning Fan's injuries. Instead, the corners of her mouth curved into a smirk, and she stared at Ning Fan's back with a strange look. After a long time, she clicked her tongue and sighed. Brother Biscuit's really a heavy taste. Alright. She had already misunderstood him. Ning Fan did not deliberately hide the existence of Nieli. If he wants to stabilize the rain world, he would need the deterrence of Nieli. Only a few people in the rain world knew what Nieli was. Most of the cultivators only knew that it was a gigantic peacock with purple eyes and black feathers. They knew that this peacock was incomparably powerful. Even if someone knew that it was Nieli, Ning Fan would not care. Even if someone guessed that he was Liu Bei who killed the Vine Sovereign based on this Nieli, Ning Fan would not care. The crime of killing the Vine Sovereign had already been erased by Wei Xian and the others. Even if this matter spreads out, there was no need for him to be afraid of anything. It would just increase his notoriety. There was no need for him to hide or conceal anything anymore. He was already the sovereign of the rain world. As soon as he returned to Si Fan Palace, Ning Fan immediately went to the Yuanya world. At this moment, he only had one thing in mind, and that was to save his mother from this calamity. He stepped into the medicine shop and looked at the stone statue of the winged demon beside the green coffin with a smile. She was Ning Fan's mother. He had saved his mother. He slowly approached the stone statue and touched the cold skin of the winged demon. He felt a slight pain in his heart. I've heard of many secret techniques of the Devil Dao that can extract the blood of living beings. The bodies of living beings who have lost their blood would turn into stone while their souls would be sealed in stone. That year, in order to save me, my mother had used up her last drop of blood. She should have died, but she was sealed into a rock by someone, saving her life. Who was the one who sealed her into a rock? Who was the one who placed her in the third level of the forbidden area? Ning Fan had searched through the memories of the Rain Sovereign. There were a total of 90 million stone statues in the forbidden area of the third floor. All of them were the life sacrifices that the Rain Sovereign had once offered to the Cloud Lion. The 90 million mortals, cultivators and demon beasts were all sacrificed by the Rain Sovereign. All of them retained their memories, except for Ning Qian. Ning Qian was not the life sacrifice that the Rain Sovereign offered to the Cloud Lion. Was it the Cloud Lion who captured Ning Qian and refined her into a stone statue? Or was it someone else? For example, the powerful seven-colored old man? Old ancestor Dong Su had once divined for Ning Fan and said that Ning Qian's fate had been changed by someone with great divine power. Could it be the doing of the seven-colored old man? Only immortal emperors would have the ability to change someone's fate. Could it be him? I can't figure it out. But no matter what, my mother's soul did not disperse because of her petrification. It's a good thing. 1,000 years ago, my mother had sacrificed all of her demon blood to save me. Today, I will repay her with my blood and help her break free from her petrification. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a dark red pill bottle. He then consumed all the pills in the bottle. This pill was called Blood Yang Pill. It was a mid-6th grade pill. It could replenish the qi and blood of a cultivator and increase their strength by 30% within a day. Of course, this 30% was calculated based on the second level of the golden body refining realm. If the body refining realm of the person consuming the pill was higher than the second level of the golden body refining realm, the increase would be greatly reduced. The reason why Ning Fan consumed the Blood Yang pill now was naturally not to increase his strength. He just wanted to replenish his qi and blood. He wanted to use his own blood to save his mother. After consuming the Blood Yang pill, Ning Fan's face turned red. He flicked his sleeves and a gust of wind swept up the winged demon statue. Then he flew to a quiet pine forest in the Yuanya world. There was a pond in the forest which was just big enough to contain the stone statue. Ning Fan placed the stone statue into the pond. Then he took out countless immortal jades and spiritual ores to determine the formation eye of the pond and set up a grand formation. This formation was very similar to the 10,000 spirit blood formation in the third level of the forbidden area. The grand formation in the third level of the forbidden area was set up by extracting the blood of living beings. It was called the 10,000 Spirit Blood Formation. This formation was set up by reversing the spirit. It was called the Reverse Spirit Blood Formation. Its function was also the opposite. It was to turn magic power into blood and return it to the people in the formation. Just like the 10,000 Spirit Blood Formation, this formation was also a peak Immortal Void Realm Grand Formation. It had a total of 90,000 formation eyes. After the Grand Formation was set up, a blood-red six-pointed star formation mark immediately appeared on the ground. The light of the formation mark, however, was moving in the opposite direction. There is good and there is bad in this world. If you borrow something, you have to return it. I have to return the blood that I owe. Ning Fan walked into the blood formation step by step towards the pond. His face was as pale as a piece of paper. He wanted to disperse his blood and return it to his mother. During the trip to the middle state, Ning Fan was severely injured. However, he did not have the time to treat his injuries at all. Even though he had taken some pills to suppress his injuries, setting up a peak Immortal Void Realm Grand Formation consumed too much of his mental and physical strength. Moreover, his injuries worsened. Currently, it was not suitable for him to disperse his blood. However, Ning Fan was unwilling to wait any longer. He walked to the edge of the pond and bit his finger. The blood on his finger turned into silk threads and wrapped around the stone statue. Gradually, it formed a massive blood cocoon with the stone statue in the center. This was the demon cocoon technique of the demon race. It could isolate the heavenly secrets and protect the remnant soul from dispersing. After creating the blood cocoon, Ning Fan sat cross-legged at the edge of the pond. He placed a finger on his glabella and took out the separation slayer that he had not used for a long time. All this while, he had neglected to refine his magical treasure. This treasure was no longer suitable for void fragmentation realm battles. However, it was enough to release his blood. Ning Fan rolled up his sleeves and cut his right arm with the sword. His blood flowed along his arm and dripped into the pond, forming circles of red. Drip, drip, drip. Ning Fan looked at the pond that was gradually dyed red and felt relieved. His blood flowed out drop by drop. However, the medicinal power of the blood yang pill made his body produce blood rapidly, replenishing the lost blood rapidly. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 10 days passed. The pond had turned dark red. Ning Fan no longer dripped his blood. A trace of black starlight wrapped around his left index finger and wiped it on his right arm. The wound immediately healed. The blood was enough. However, the stone statue in the demon cocoon still needed countless years to absorb the blood to gradually remove its petrification. Ning Fan stayed in the cocoon for 1,000 years before he woke up. Ning Fan didn't know how long he would stay in the cocoon, 10 years, 100 years, or even 1,000 years. Ning Fan took out countless treasures that could stabilize one's soul and save one's life, and threw them into the pond. No matter what, as long as he was here, his mother would never die. One day his mother would revive and wake up. It's easy to repay the blood, but it's hard to repay the kindness, but my heart is finally at ease. After saving his mother, setting up the blood pond and forming a blood cocoon to protect her life, Ning Fan's guilt had finally been repaid. At this moment his mind was unprecedentedly clear. His magical power was already enough to reach the void fragmentation realm. But he couldn't resolve the knot in his heart. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart was at ease, enough to reach the void fragmentation realm. The void fragmentation realm doesn't need to break the void, but the falsehood in the cultivator's heart. Only by comprehending the truth and falsehood and understanding life and death can one become an immortal. The first step of cultivation is still the Tao heart. What is falsehood? Ning Fan's eyes lit up. His figure flashed and returned to Sifan Palace. His finger drew a line in front of him, slowly cutting open the void, revealing the dark void below. Ning Fan did not say much and stepped into the void. He looked at the boundless void and recalled the previous reality. He seemed to have gained some enlightenment. One step is falsehood while the other is reality. Falsehood and reality are decided by a single thought. Right here, void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan was severely injured, and he did not have the time to create a formation disk to block the heavenly tribulation. However, he was not afraid of any heavenly tribulation. At the crucial moment, he could use Nyeli or even the rogue devil. Why would he be afraid of the heavenly tribulation? He did not concoct any pills that could increase his chances of reaching the void fragmentation realm. However, he had absolute confidence that he could reach the void fragmentation realm. His comprehension of the void could already distinguish between falsehood and reality with a single thought. Along the way, he saw longevity as nothing, and he saw fame and fortune as nothing. He regarded his obsession and the love in his heart as reality. This was Ning Fan's true self. To distinguish between falsehood and reality was to find his own Tao. Ning Fan knew that his Tao was to guard the obsession in his heart. That was all. The great Tao of the heavens was dispensable. It could exist or perish. The immortal emperor throne was not what he wanted. It was like throwing away an old shoe. The path that I have walked is my Tao. The person in my heart is my reality. I want to reach the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan stood in midair. His aura force was like a violent gale that spread across the void and rose steadily. The magic power in his body seemed to have turned into an invisible hand, tearing the bottleneck of the void fragmentation realm bit by bit. This process constantly affected his injuries. The pain made Ning Fan's mind clearer. No joy or sorrow. His mind was as still as water. This was the most suitable state of mind for breaking through to the next cultivation level. Rumble. The void in his surroundings suddenly gave off a loud cracking sound. Countless golden cracks appeared. At this moment, Ning Fan's aura force naturally broke through the bottleneck. His cultivation base was now at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After his cultivation base improved, his magic power had increased by a whole 2,000 yuan. However, Ning Fan did not show any hint of joy. To him now, it was not difficult to reach the void fragmentation realm. It was reasonable for him to improve his magic power. His eyes stared at the golden crack. A strong sense of danger was spreading from that place. It was a very familiar qi. It was the qi of the heavenly Tao of the lower world. Is she the one who sent the tribulation to me? Ning Fan's eyes gradually turned solemn. If the heavenly tribulation this time was far beyond his cultivation base, he would naturally borrow the power of Nyeli and the rogue devil. Immediately, however, Ning Fan's eyes relaxed. The sense of danger from the crack was similar to the previous heavenly tribulation, when he broke through to the absolute void stage. It seemed like the heavenly Tao did not increase the grade of the heavenly tribulation this time. Rumble. Billions of golden lightning bolts suddenly shot out from the countless golden cracks in the void. A ring shadow that was half black and half white suddenly appeared in the void. Amidst the ring shadows, a displeased female voice rang out. TSK. Why is it sending the tribulation to you again? A normal sovereign lightning tribulation definitely won't be able to kill you. Humph. After saying that, the woman did not speak a second time. The golden lightning bolts that filled the sky turned into golden dragons. They hovered in the sky while letting out deafening roars. A normal sovereign lightning tribulation, huh? Ning Fan calmed himself down. A cultivator would need to go through 3 tribulations to break through to the void fragmentation realm. During the sovereign lightning tribulation, cultivators who had the luck could condense sovereign qi. The Yin Wind tribulation was a tribulation that they had to go through. As for the 3rd tribulation, it varied from person to person. Most of them had the luck, which was a reward from the heavenly Tao. Ning Fan did not have a good relationship with the heavenly Tao. Thus, he did not expect the heavenly Tao to reward him with anything. As long as the difficulty of the heavenly tribulation did not increase, it was already a good thing. In that case, he could also go through the heavenly tribulation without borrowing the power of Nyeli. Rumble. A thunderclap resounded. Billions of dragon-shaped golden lightning bolts struck at Ning Fan at the same time. Chapter 630. In the dark void, the golden light was dazzling. Ning Fan looked at the billions of golden lightning bolts, but he did not show much fear. His magic power, spirit sense and comprehension had already reached the void fragmentation realm. Now his cultivation base had also reached the void fragmentation realm. At this moment, he was no longer a primordial returning realm cultivator, but a true void fragmentation realm expert. He could feel that he could open up a heavenly abode with just a raise of his hand. He had the ability to open a heavenly abode with a palm. The palm opening heaven grotto heaven was to open up an illusory space in reality, or to open up an illusory space in reality. Reality and illusion only depended on a single thought, which was why he could open a heavenly passage with a single thought. At this moment, the appearance of the primordial spirit in Ning Fan's dantian had undergone some changes. It was still the size of a palm, and its eyes were closed as it sat cross-legged in its dantian. However, at that moment his primordial spirit's body seemed illusory, and it was erratic. His long hair fluttered in the wind and he wore white robes. There was also a purple seal on the left side of his face. His appearance was similar to Ning Fan's. It was almost like a miniature version of Ning Fan. There was always a ball of black light orb revolving around the Yuanshin. That light pearl was a void pearl that was formed from all of Ning Fan's comprehension of the void. From now on, every time Ning Fan's cultivation base improves by one layer, there would be one more void pearl revolving around his primordial spirit. At this moment, Ning Fan had completely understood what was real and what was fake. His strength had become much stronger compared to when he had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm. The lightning star on Ning Fan's glabella flashed. With a single step, he stepped into the void space. In the boundless void space, a massive blood-red lightning diagram immediately appeared out of nowhere. The golden lightning that filled the entire sky was just at the level of a normal lightning tribulation. It was enough to give a cultivator who had just broken through to the void fragmentation realm a hard time. However, it was not enough to make Ning Fan fearful. He was far stronger than a once demolisher, and he was the bane of lightning. Swallow. The lightning diagram retracted, and in an instant, the billions of bolts of golden lightning were all taken away. However, Ning Fan's eyes suddenly froze after he kept away the lightning tribulation. Then, his figure flashed and he directly fled from his original spot. Countless golden cracks suddenly appeared on the huge void lightning diagram. Hundreds of golden lightning rays flew out from those cracks and turned into golden dragons. They widened their ferocious mouths and rushed towards Ning Fan in an instant. From the looks of it, this golden lightning was somewhat special, and could not be completely suppressed by the lightning diagram. TSK, you even dare to swallow the sovereign thunder. You really overestimate yourself. The so-called sovereign thunder was lightning condensed from sovereign chi. It looked like lightning but was not. This lightning diagram seemed to be able to restrain lightning. However, it's a pity that your sovereign chi cultivation is too low. Otherwise, this diagram would really be able to swallow the sovereign lightning in one go. Within the heavenly Tao ring, a leisurely and complacent laughter came out. In an incomparably distant space, a little lowly dressed in snow-white clothes was holding a piece of piping hot 8 treasures cake in her hands and eating it happily. Beneath her feet was a calm lake with gentle ripples. From the center of the lake, she could see the process of Ning Fan's tribulation. She stood on the lake and took a bite of the 8 treasures cake. She laughed and was extremely happy. She was not only happy because she managed to eat her favorite 8 treasures cake, but also because she saw that Ning Fan's tribulation was not going smoothly. Previously, she personally made a move to descend the tribulation for Ning Fan. However, she was scared away by a single sword attack from him. This time, she had learned her lesson and did not show up in person. Under the Sovereign Lord's order, he did not give Ning Fan more heavenly tribulations. Instead, he only sent the normal heavenly tribulation. You can't do anything about this sovereign lightning tribulation, right? The little lowly's gloating laughter passed through the lake and reached Ning Fan's ears. Ning Fan, who was undergoing the tribulation in the void realm, naturally could not imagine how the little girl of the heavenly Tao was currently eating the 8 treasures cake and waiting for him to suffer. After listening to the little lowly's words, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Sovereign Chi lightning, huh? He already had a plan in his mind. Ning Fan's first trace of sovereign Chi was condensed using the Sovereign Rain Primordial Art. The Sovereign Rain Primordial Art only recorded the method to condense the first trace of sovereign Chi. However, It did not record the method to increase the amount of sovereign qi. In ancient times, there was a period of time when the sovereign qi cultivation method was extremely popular. Powerful immortal emperors would have hundreds or even thousands of strands of sovereign qi. Just by relying on the might of the sovereign qi, they could subdue their enemies, causing them to submit. At the same time, the sovereign qi had unparalleled offensive power. If it is used on magic techniques and magic treasures, the power would be boundless. Experts with sovereign qi were invincible at the same level as them. A superior emperor cultivation technique could allow one to grow 2, 2 to grow 3, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, high-grade sovereign cultivation methods were already rare in the first place. As countless immortal emperors fell, sovereign cultivators were almost extinct in the cultivation world. In the lower realm, it was already very rare to have a cultivation method that could condense sovereign qi. In the upper realm, even if there were peak forces that possessed secret techniques that could divide the sovereign qi, there were definitely not many of them. If a void fragmentation realm expert in the lower realm could condense the first trace of sovereign qi, he or she could be called a sovereign expert. This first trace of sovereign qi might be condensed from a cultivation method, or it could be condensed during the sovereign lightning tribulation. Each time a cultivator underwent a sovereign lightning tribulation, there would be a chance to condense a trace of sovereign qi. However, the probability was very low. The cultivators in the lower realm did not know the technique to divide the sovereign qi. It was even rarer for someone to condense the first trace of sovereign qi with a cultivation method. Most of the sovereigns obtained the sovereign qi by chance during the sovereign lightning tribulation. It was extremely rare for someone to condense the sovereign qi with a cultivation method like Ning Fan. There were 9 heavenly layers in the void fragmentation realm. Each breakthrough would bring about a sovereign lightning tribulation. Theoretically, 9 traces of sovereign qi could be comprehended during the 9 sovereign lightning tribulations. However, the probability of comprehending the sovereign qi through the sovereign lightning tribulation was too low. No matter how heaven-defying a person's luck was, it was impossible for him or her to successfully comprehend the sovereign qi after going through the 9 lightning tribulations. Ordinary sovereign experts in the lower realm would only have 1 trace of sovereign qi. Those who possessed more than 2 traces of sovereign qi were extremely rare. Even though Ning Fan's luck was purple, he did not think that he would definitely be able to add another trace of sovereign qi during the sovereign lightning tribulation. Others would just endure the attacks of the sovereign lightning tribulation obediently, and gradually increase their sovereign qi during the attacks. However, he did not plan to do so. Looking at the hundreds of traces of sovereign lightning that were coming at him, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with golden light. His body suddenly shone with golden light. He quickly raised his hand and pointed out a finger. A ray of golden light immediately shot out from his finger and soared into the sky, turning into a golden flying dragon that was around 1 qi long. This flying dragon was Ning Fan's first trace of sovereign qi. Devour. Ning Fan gave a very simple order. He wanted his sovereign qi to devour all the sovereign lightning. Aren't these sovereign lightning formed from the sovereign qi? It's just right for me to use them as nourishment for my sovereign qi. The sovereign qi of an ordinary person could not devour the sovereign lightning. As for Ning Fan's sovereign qi, the lightning star on Ning Fan's glabella flashed and a vast lightning might spread out. The hundreds of traces of sovereign lightning trembled and stopped in the sky. If there were billions of sovereign lightning bolts, they would also dare to strike Ning Fan. However, there were only hundreds of traces of sovereign lightning that flew out of the lightning diagram. None of them dared to attack Ning Fan at all. At this moment, Ning Fan, who possessed the Tai Su lightning star, was like a sovereign of lightning. Taking advantage of the moment when the lightning bolts were stunned, Ning Fan's flying dragon of sovereign qi swooshed and devoured the traces of sovereign lightning. Ning Fan changed his hand seal and borrowed the power of the lightning star to refine the sovereign lightning with his sovereign qi. Gradually, the flying dragon devoured all the traces of sovereign lightning, and its body grew about half an inch bigger. Ning Fan's eyes immediately lit up. Interesting. It seems like this method that I came up with can really increase the power of my sovereign qi. Ning Fan did not have a cultivation method that allowed him to divide his sovereign qi. However, he found another way to feed his sovereign qi with the sovereign lightning. Since he could not increase the quantity of his sovereign qi, he would increase the quality of his sovereign qi. Why can his trace of sovereign qi devour the sovereign lightning? I have never seen such a thing before. The white-robed little Lolita put down the 8 treasures cake and opened her mouth wide in astonishment. Even though she had never seen a cultivator feeding his sovereign qi with sovereign lightning, it did not mean that such a thing did not exist. Lightning Emperor Tai Su had done such a thing before. After all, he was a lightning emperor. Of course, he was not afraid of sovereign lightning. Ning Fan did not know about Lightning Emperor Tai Su's past, but he had the same thought as the latter. As the inheritor of lightning, it was not difficult for him to feed his sovereign qi flying dragon with sovereign lightning. Ning Fan's eyes shifted to the lightning diagram. The number of golden cracks on the lightning diagram gradually increased. More and more sovereign lightning bolts flew out and struck at Ning Fan. Without saying a word, Ning Fan used his lightning power to scare the sovereign lightning and ordered his sovereign qi to devour it. In the end, he used his lightning star ability to help his sovereign qi absorb the lightning power. In the beginning, hundreds of sovereign lightning bolts flew out. Then thousands of sovereign lightning bolts flew out. After that, tens of thousands of sovereign lightning bolts flew out. Ning Fan seemed to have forgotten that this was a sovereign lightning tribulation to comprehend the sovereign qi. He just let his sovereign qi continuously devour the sovereign lightning bolts. After 2 hours, the billions of sovereign lightning bolts in the lightning diagram had all entered the stomach of the flying dragon of sovereign qi. At this moment, the flying dragon of sovereign qi was already 1 zhang long. It coiled around Ning Fan's body and shone with dazzling golden light. Ning Fan still only had 1 trace of sovereign qi. However, the sovereign might of this trace was 10 times stronger than ordinary sovereign qi. The might of a trace of sovereign qi was equivalent to 10 traces of other people's sovereign qi. After all, the sovereign qi flying dragon of ordinary people was only around 1 qi long. It was nowhere as huge as Ning Fan's flying dragon. Come back. Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed. The flying dragon of sovereign qi immediately turned into a ray of golden light and flew into his body. The sovereign lightning tribulation was easily passed just like that. The next time I break through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, there will definitely be another sovereign lightning tribulation. At that time, I'll use the sovereign lightning to nourish myself. Ning Fan thought. As it's so huge. How did his flying dragon of sovereign qi grow so huge? The little loli looked at Ning Fan's 1 zhang long flying dragon of sovereign qi across the lake. She was extremely curious. She did not forget that she still had to summon a tribulation. After being stunned for a moment, she immediately summoned the Yin Wind tribulation. Humph! You used the wind calming pearl to pass the previous Yin Wind tribulation. Let's see how you're going to pass it this time. The little loli curled her lips and took a bite of the 8 treasures cake. Countless dark clouds suddenly appeared in the void above them. Heavy layers of cold wind blew down. The bone-chilling cold wind could blow most void fragmentation realm cultivators into ashes. Ning Fan still remembered how powerful the Yin Wind tribulation was. However, he was no longer afraid of a mere 1st heavenly destruction realm Yin Wind tribulation. However, he was currently severely injured. He would not be foolish enough to face the wind tribulation head-on. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out a scarlet golden flag. It was a low-grade immortal void realm treasure that he obtained from the Vine Palace. This treasure was called the Wind Calming Flag. It had the power to resist the wind tribulation. It was a low-grade immortal void realm treasure. Coincidentally, it was a magic treasure that Ning Fan could easily use now that his cultivation base was at the 1st heavenly destruction realm. Ning Fan had killed many void fragmentation realm cultivators and obtained quite a number of wind-blocking treasures. Most of them were of a higher grade than the wind calming flag. However, a higher grade did not mean that it was suitable for use. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, this flag was the most suitable for him. Ning Fan waved the wind calming flag. The cold winds that blew from all directions immediately trembled and changed their direction. With his current cultivation base and status, He had plenty of methods to resist the first heavenly destruction realm in Wind Tribulation. There was no need for him to worry at all. 2 hours later, the Wind Tribulation stopped. Ningfan was not hurt by the Wind Tribulation at all. This is so infuriating. This Wind Tribulation can't hurt him at all. The little girl pouted her lips and stomped her feet in anger. She was not paying attention, and the 8 treasures cake that she had eaten fell into the lake below her feet. The little girl was so anxious that she almost burst into tears. This was the 8 treasures cake personally made by the monarch. It was unknown how many heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures were used to make it. Not only was it delicious, but it could also nourish one's skin and nourish one's spirit. Eating a piece of it could cure all kinds of illnesses and detoxify all kinds of poisons. Eating a piece of it could heal serious injuries and increase one's magic power. My 8 treasures cake. Aw. It's all your fault. Stinky Ningfan. Rotten Ningfan. I hate you. No matter how much the little girl cried, the 8 treasures cake would not return. Ningfan kept the wind-steadying flag and quietly waited for the 3rd round of heavenly tribulation. The 3rd round of heavenly tribulation differed from person to person. It would only appear when breaking through to the void fragmentation realm. Everyone would encounter different tribulations. Normally, the 3rd round of heavenly tribulation was mainly about rewarding opportunities. Ningfan did not think that the little heavenly Tao girl who had a grudge against him would reward him. Ningfan waited calmly for the 3rd round of heavenly tribulation. He wanted to see how the little heavenly Tao girl would make things difficult for him. His mind was as calm as a rock. He knew that he would not change his expression, even if the little heavenly Tao girl used some strange tricks. However, after waiting for a long time, there was still no heavenly tribulation. Finally, a concealed weapon fell from the sky, aiming at Ningfan's head. What is this? Ningfan was speechless. He waved his hand and a piece of 8 treasures cake that had been chewed into dog shit fell into his hand. Is this 8 treasures cake something to eat? Could this be the 3rd round of heavenly tribulation? Could this 8 treasures cake be poisoned? Ningfan repeatedly checked the 8 treasures cake in his hand and found that there was nothing wrong with it. Not only was it not poisonous, but it was also a rare treasure. 500,000 years old heavenly Tao ginseng, 450,000 years old purple grade Ganoderma, 620,000 years old Jucca spirit root. Other than that, there are 5 types of extremely precious spiritual herbs in this cake, which I have never seen before. The only thing I can be sure of is that these 8 spiritual herbs are all great nourishment items that are beneficial to one's cultivation. If I eat this cake, the injuries in my body will be healed in an extremely short period of time. But there is one thing that I can't figure out. Is this piece of cake a reward from the heavenly Tao? Reward? Why would the little heavenly Tao girl who had a grudge against him give him a piece of cake out of kindness to help him heal his injuries? Moreover, why did this rice cake look like it had been chewed by a dog? There was even saliva on it. Rice cake. How dare you call the 8 treasures cake made by the monarch using the 8 treasures spiritual herbs as a rice cake? Give me back my 8 treasures cake. The little heavenly Tao girl stomped her feet in anger. Forget it. Perhaps that little heavenly Tao girl wants to make peace with me. That's why she gave me this rice cake to help me heal my injuries. Ningfan muttered to himself. Nonsense. I have never thought of pleasing you. If it wasn't because of the monarch's order, I would have definitely aggravated the heavenly tribulation. The little heavenly Tao girl became even more conflicted. Since it's her kind intention to make peace with me, if I don't eat it, it would seem like I'm a narrow-minded person. I'll eat it. Ningfan endured the disgust and finished the 8 treasures cake with saliva on it. Even though it was disgusting, the medicinal power of the 8 treasures cake had almost instantly stabilized all of Ningfan's injuries. The injuries in his sea of consciousness, his third eye and the countless injuries on his body were all healed. Ningfan was naturally in a good mood. He smiled and said, "The taste is not bad. Since the heavenly tribulation is over, I can return to the outside world now." With a flash, Ningfan left the hollow space and returned to the outside world. At this moment, the little heavenly Tao girl was so angry that she could not speak a word. She felt embarrassed, angry, and wronged. She was embarrassed because Ning Fan actually ate the 8 treasures cake that she had eaten with his saliva. Isn't that an indirect kiss? She was angry because she was too stupid. Not only did Ning Fan take advantage of her, but she also used the 8 treasures cake to help her enemy heal his injuries. She felt wronged because the 8 treasures cake that she had been yearning for day and night fell off when she only ate half of it. My 8 treasures cake. Woo 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 woo. Stinky Ning Fan, rotten Ning Fan, rotten Ning Fan, rotten Ning Fan, rotten Ning Fan. The little heavenly Dao girl cried while cursing and cursing beside the lake. Ning Fan quietly returned to 7 Apricot City. No one knew that he had actually solved the knot in his heart and succeeded in the void fragmentation realm in just 10 days. He went into seclusion in 7 Apricot City for a few days. He consumed pills to completely stabilize his cultivation base. The 7th revolution pills that could stabilize one's cultivation base were naturally robbed. He remembered the promise he made with the little demoness and decided to accompany her to the North Sea. Ning Fan only thought that the North Sea that the little demoness mentioned was the North Sea of the Rain World. Naturally, he did not take it seriously. To him, returning to the North Sea of the Rain World wouldn't take too long, and there wouldn't be any danger. He did not know that the little demoness was playing a word game with him. She actually wanted to lure him to the North Demon Sea of the Demon World. In just 10 days, the day that the Rain Sovereign fell shook the entire Rain World. There were 2 new Rain Sovereigns. One was Evil Sovereign Ning Fan, and the other was Li Sovereign Li Tsangtian. 10 days ago, among the 800 cultivation countries of the Rain World, there were 42 forces that refused to accept Ning Fan as the new Rain Sovereign. A small number of cultivators from these forces were killed while the rest were controlled by Li Tsangtian with a restrictive spell. In Yu Country, countless cultivators came to congratulate Ning Fan and sent gifts to him. Most of them were stopped from entering 7 Apricot City and were received outside the city. Ordinary people were not allowed to enter 7 Apricot City. All of these were not things that Ning Fan wanted to care about. Naturally, there would be someone else to handle it. He was just a hands-off boss. The ladies had already learned about the huge case that Ning Fan had committed in the Middle State from countless channels. After Ning Fan came out from his seclusion, the first thing he did was to tell them the truth of that day. The Rain Sovereign had fallen, and the new Rain Sovereign succeeded him. The news had probably spread to the other worlds in the Rain World. Ning Fan was still in Si Fan Palace, waiting for the day that he promised to meet the little demoness. He left the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation in 7 Apricot City and handed them over to Su Qiuling, who had just come out of seclusion to protect the city. To the current Ning Fan, the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation were dispensable. To 7 Apricot City, however, they were a powerful force that was hard to come by. One day, when Ning Fan woke up, the little demoness had already come to him. She was sitting in Si Fan Palace, drinking tea and chatting with Ji He, Mu Xiaohuan, Mu Xiaoyang and Feng Shuyan. During the days when Ning Fan was not in the Rain World, she lived in 7 Apricot City with the identity of the cloaked person. She had already become familiar with Ji He and the others. Similarly, Ji He had also come out from her seclusion. She had an innate charming bone physique, which allowed her to absorb the benefits of dual cultivation with Ning Fan the fastest. The 3 little girls and a little mute were drinking the spiritual tea that the little demoness brewed. The way they looked at the little demoness was especially intimate. So you are Sister Cloak. Mu Xiaoyang looked at the little demoness gratefully, thanking her for healing Mei Chen's injuries. By the way, you said that you are the pavilion lord of the Godly Void Pavilion. Does that mean that we have been neighbors since a long time ago? Ji He tilted her head and pondered. She felt a little strange. Why have I never seen this little demoness before? I will help you make the tea. Mu Xiaohuan lowered her head timidly. She was not used to being served by others while sitting. Gudu gudu gudu. The little mute Feng Shuyan was only responsible for drinking the tea. Occasionally, she would smile at the little demoness as if she was saying that the tea was really delicious. When Ning Fan appeared, the first thing he saw was this scene. Hee. Lord Rain Sovereign is here. Your cultivation base has improved again? The little demoness Yi smiled. She was the first one who noticed Ning Fan's arrival. As soon as she saw Ning Fan, Jihe's bright eyes flashed with hope. Mu Xiaoyang, on the other hand, lowered her head shyly and pretended to be an ostrich with Mu Xiaohuan. Feng Shuiyin put down her teacup and stood up. Her lips moved. The others did not know what she said, but they saw her jumping into Ning Fan's arms and snuggling in his arms like a kitten. Only Ning Fan could hear what she said. Brother-in-law Rain Emperor, when you go to the demon realm to play, you have to bring me a gift. Monster realm? Gift. Ning Fan was startled. Brother Fan, it was Sister Xiao who said that you agreed to go to the demon realm with her to do something. Don't you know about this? We still want you to bring us a gift from the demon realm. And it should be a special gift like the lily of the valley. Jihe's big eyes flickered. Sister Xiao? Ning Fan looked at the little demoness, waiting for her to give him an explanation. He didn't know that he had agreed to go to the demon realm with this woman. He also didn't know that this woman's surname was Xiao. Ayaya, Ancient Chaos successor wants to renege on his debt? You were the one who personally promised to accompany me to the North Sea of the demon realm. You even said that it wouldn't be difficult. The little demon girl revealed a sly smile. I didn't know that the North Sea you mentioned is the North Sea of the demon world. If I head to the demon world... Ning Fan frowned. His identity as the Rain Sovereign was too sensitive. It did not seem appropriate for him to enter the demon world. Will it make things difficult for you? Forget it then. The little demon girl waved her hand nonchalantly. It's not really difficult. Fine, there's no harm in accompanying you to the demon world. After all, I still owe you 3 favors, and I need to repay them one by one. I know that the successor of Ancient Chaos is a man of his word. His words are worth 1,000 gold, and he never goes back on his words. Then let's go to the demon world immediately. The world path is very long, and it will take a few days. After all, the demon world is very far away. The little demon girl giggled and patted her storage pouch. She took out 2 jade slips and gave one to Ning Fan. Now, Ning Fan scanned the jade slip with his spirit sense, and found that there was a record of a realm-traversing technique in the demon world. It could open the realm gate and enter the demon world. And let's go now. We should have gone there last month. But I saw that your injuries were quite serious, so I gave you a month to heal, making He Shirshio wait in the demon world for a month. We can't drag it any longer. If we drag it any longer, Lord Daozi will be angry. This trip is very important. It's related to the success or failure of obtaining the map. The little demon girl's eyes suddenly turned serious and full of dignity, completely different from her previous playful state. My second request is that you accompany me to the immortal Burning Valley to obtain a map. Do you agree? If you find it difficult, you can pretend that I have never said this. She had no intention of forcing Ning Fan, because a melon that was forcefully twisted would not be sweet. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.